Good morning, hello, good afternoon, good evening. It doesn't matter where you are welcome to Baltic United Kingdom Social Entrepreneurship Forum. Entrepreneurship, what a complicated word it is to say and to do. But today we'll find the best ways how to do a social entrepreneurship together across the borders and across businesses and ministries. I'm Valdis, and next to me is my colleague for today, Regita. Good morning, hello, and good evening. And Forum brings together social entrepreneurs. Please raise your hand if you are one of those. Yeah, come on, I can see you, all of you. Thank you. Stakeholders and government representatives from Baltic states, the UK, and the rest of the world. You all are welcome. Today, we will be talking about cooperation. The Baltic-UK Social Entrepreneurship Forum is held for the first time, and we are saying thank you to the British Council that has supported and promoted the development of social entrepreneurship in Baltic region and elsewhere for several years, because they really know how to do it. The theme of the forum is cooperation, as I mentioned already, and that means that we will find the best common interests and goals, and maybe we'll start to work together much, much closer. So that's what I wish you for today. But before we begin, I'd like to know, where are you from? Where are you right now? Please, write in the chat at the platform where you can see us. Please write in the city, town, village, or maybe what lakeside or seaside you're at.
I would love to be on the beach right now, Valdis.
I know. Why do you think I have these sunglasses here? So we would like to see, where are you right now? Please write it in the chat and we can read out for others. So, because that's a great opportunity. You can do this from anywhere. That's what we call phygital event. Some of us are digital, some are physical. By the way, what is your favorite lakeside or seaside, Regita?
Razna, please come to the Latgale and enjoy the lakeside there.
Oh, what a lake it is. I would say it's Latgale's sea, by the way.
It is.
So let's see, where are we now? Čegums, Daugava, Tallinn, Estonia, Riga, Agenskalns. Good morning. Riga, Tallinn, close to Tallinn. Yes, that's what we have in chat. Write it down. We would like to see, where are you from, and wave to you from here, Riga. Welcome, Preili, Jelgava. Greetings from Tartu, Estonia. Welcome. Garciems, Latvia. Good morning from Copenhagen. You're welcome to Riga too. By the way, in Šiauliai, Lithuania, that's where you are. Nablus, West Bank, Palestinian Authority. Wow. Vilnius, Jelgava. Thank you, Anna. Here we are. So that was a little icebreaker. By the way, we will have another icebreaker for the break, but I will announce that a little later. Before we begin to work, I have some opening speeches for you to be announced, and now please welcome the host of the forum and my colleague for today, Regita Zeile, Director of the Latvian Social Entrepreneurship Association. Regita, you're on.
Hello and welcome. What brings us here together is the aim to increase the social impact in the Baltics. We can do it through stronger partnerships and collaborations. And today we are here to celebrate the partnerships that have been created in the past and to create new ones. And please make this an opportunity for you. Tell about yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Where are you from? And let's partner together to bring the change to the Baltics. We are very happy to be the partners of British Council Latvia in bringing the social entrepreneurship to wider audiences in the regions of Latvia. We are honored to host the first Baltic-UK Social Entrepreneurship Forum. Let's make it a tradition for a better Baltic social entrepreneurship ecosystem. I would like to thank all of our partners throughout the years and our members, because cooperation matters, and that's how we can bring change to our society. Make new connections, enjoy the event, and have some fun.
Thank you, Regita. Thank you very much. And we are also welcoming some more people and listeners and attendees from Mežaparks in Riga, Kamajoba from Tbilisi, Georgia. You're welcome. Salaspils, Rēzeknes novads Nautrēni. Some neighbors there. And now let's go on. And I'd like to invite British Council Latvia Country Director, Zane Matasovica. Zane.
Hi. You hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so let's start. Dear ladies and gentlemen, although since the subject of today's conference is collaboration, allow me please to address you all, dear colleagues. I was thinking how long we've been working with the Social Entrepreneurship Association, and I counted 5 years already. And together we support social entrepreneurship network and enable local government and local communities to implement social entrepreneurship ideas all around Latvia. And I would like to use this short period of time and opportunity and sincerely thank you, Madara Uland, the former director of the association and the mastermind behind the Social Entrepreneurship Ambassadors program we run for several years very successfully, current director Regita Zeļa, and all your team for hard and inspiring work during these years. You've been working in line with British Council values, fostering social cohesion, increasing social impact, and making changes in local communities. And I would also like to thank the partners who took part in organization of this event, especially Marge Maidla, Estonian Social Enterprise Network, and Viktoria Bražunaite, Lithuanian Association of Social Enterprises, and of course, British Council colleagues for helping to put together such a rich and fruitful agenda. And as this is an international event, I would like to give the floor to the Colm McGivern, who is British Council Cluster Lead for Baltics and Country Director for Poland as well. Colm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Zane. And can everybody hear me okay, yeah? Zane, thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here for the inaugural Baltic-UK Social Enterprise Forum. And to sound a little bit like Vice President Kamala Harris, this may be the first event of its kind, but it will definitely not be the last. So it is a great pleasure to be here. And great to be working with the Social Enterprise Association of Latvia once again, who have been great partners for us in this endeavor. I think it's a brilliant initiative. Even on a distractingly beautiful sunny summer day, we come together to talk about the best ways for us to create social partnerships for the future. And I'm not surprised that it's social entrepreneurs that are at the forefront of such innovation. And I think you've themed this event brilliantly. Cooperation is at the heart of successful social enterprises. And it's clear from the attendance here today, internationally from across the world, that social enterprises are as an exciting sector in your economy and society as they are in the UK. Now, in the British Council, we believe passionately in the potential of people to work together to develop the skills needed to build businesses and organizations that serve their communities and their own aspirations, as well as providing them with a living for them and their families. And in doing so, we know that what we're precipitating, creating, is more inclusive and open societies. So our focus in particular, but not exclusively, is on young people and the next generation and helping them connect with UK institutions and UK models of practice and ideas, deepening the already very strong relationships between our countries. And our work in the Baltics has been long-standing, and for the last 5 years, we've been expanding this to help us connect with more people through our shared learning and educational program that we call the People-to-People program, linking the 3 Baltic countries to the UK through things like social enterprise. So it's nearly 6 months now since we all listened to Amanda Gorman at President Biden's inauguration, where she said that victory won't lie in the blade, but in the bridges that we have made. And it's a standout line in a poem that was about many things, including the power of cooperation. Social enterprise, as you know, is a powerful cooperative mechanism that empowers individuals and communities to earn and learn and share with respect. And respect is a fundamental building block of trust, and trust is vital if we're to prosper as individuals locally and countries internationally. You've got a brilliant lineup of speakers here today for the conference. I can see Andrew O'Brien is here. In fact, he's up next He's going to tell you much more about the social enterprise sector in the UK. Maeve Monaghan from Northern Ireland, my own home turf, will give you brilliant insights into the development of social enterprises from the community level upward. And the social enterprise sector in the UK is growing. It's the product of cooperation across the full spectrum of national lawmakers, local and city level government working alongside entrepreneurs like those here today to create the conditions needed for experimentation and the development of ideas and giving them the space to thrive. The next big social enterprise could be invented by someone on this call today. And the important thing is that the idea has the opportunity to be tested, supported, and if it's good, to succeed. So it's thanks to you and thanks to conferences like this, with support from the highest levels in your countries and support from international partners, like all of us around the table today, that the social enterprise sector can feel respected, supported, and empowered. And we look forward to continuing to work with you and watching the mutually strengthening cooperation continue between the 3 Baltic countries and the UK. And good luck today. Enjoy the conference. And I wish I could be with you at the house parties later on. I'd be very interested to see what happens there. Thank you.
Thank you, Com. Thank you very much. Yes, the house parties are in the plan. But before that, there's some more things we would like to tell you. First, Madara Olander is writing us a comment. And by the way, you can also do it in the chat on 4 Facebook platforms or on this platform where we are watching this event. Madara is saying, Zane, wow, many, many thanks for the kind words. It has been a wild ride indeed. And I'm so happy to see how British Council and SEAL are taking further the work we started. That's Madara Olander. And now for the program of today. Like we said, the most important thing Colm already mentioned, but we will get to that. The forum has 3 parts. The first one will run until 1 o'clock Eastern European Summer Time. That is 1 o'clock local Riga time. That's where we are, by the way. And if, in case you hear some planes somewhere flying, yes, we're in the open area, and you will hear from time to time all sorts of noises. Some nice, some maybe not so. But the other part, in the afternoon, 4 parallel workshop groups will take place to strengthen cooperation and communication skills. So that's where you get together to work. And the forum will end, as mentioned, with online house parties at 6 Baltic social enterprises. You will find more information on Social Entrepreneurship Association of Latvia Facebook page, so you can go there and see how you get to the party. And simultaneous translation into Latvian, šis laikam jāsaka latviešu valodā, tad tulkojums uz latviešu valodu ir pieejams, vienkārši nospiediet pogu Latvian, tur pašā apakšā, kur jūs varat vērot šobrīd šo pārraidi, nospiediet Latvian un saņemsiet tulkojumu latviešu valodā. So I was just saying, just in case someone needs some translation to Latvian, that's what you can find, pushing button Latvian. And in case you would like to hear how that sounds all in Latvian, you're welcome to. Now, very lively program is ahead. It will be very dynamic. We have not so much time. That's why we will have 5-10 minute speeches. Of course, the inspirational speech will get a little longer. You can ask questions. You can ask questions on Facebook pages, at the chat. You can ask questions at this chat below the live stream player. And that's where the program is. And the chat boxes, you already found it. First speaker. A key person regarding UK social enterprise cooperation, Andrew O'Brien, Director of External Affairs at Social Enterprise UK. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having us here. And fantastically dressed presenters as well. I feel inspired already by your bow tie and your suit. I'm often wearing a bow tie myself, but I feel I've been overdone this year. So thanks so much. And thank you to our colleagues in Latvia for doing your amazing work to promote social enterprise. and also colleagues of the British Council, Colm and others. You are very inspirational as well. I've got a short presentation I'll be doing, and then I would like to try and get some questions and hopefully have a bit of a dialogue with you all across the Baltic regions and across Europe. I did actually feel a bit like Eurovision this morning with the presenters as well, and I hope this presentation won't get the dreaded nil point which we in the UK suffered a little while ago. But thank you so much for that. So just to start off really, and I think importantly, I guess, to set a bit of context for social enterprise in the United Kingdom, we are a significant contributor now to the UK economy. We have 100,000 social enterprises in the United Kingdom. We employ 2 million people across the country, and we contribute £60 billion to UK GDP. So we are a significant player, not yet the dominant form of business in this country, but like colleagues across the Baltic region, we are aiming to get there and to shake up markets and to really provide opportunity. Interestingly as well, I just want to look at the past 10 years, a little bit of a history lesson, and I hope you'll indulge me. We've seen some really fantastic growth and spread of social enterprise. As you can see at the bottom of this table here, this is the kind of general performance of the UK economy, which is, grown. We've got more people employed, we've got more businesses. But compared to social enterprise in this country, we double the number of jobs we had 10 years ago, almost triple the size of the contribution to the UK economy, and again, almost a doubling of the number of social enterprises. You can see that fantastic growth and acceleration of growth in our sector. And what I would say to colleagues on this conference today is sometimes it can feel very tough being a social entrepreneur. It can feel like you're a bit on your own and you're experimenting with ideas and concepts which other people don't understand, but you're not on your own. Certainly not from the UK perspective. We will always be here to support you, and you are part of the future. Our chair, Lord Victor Adebowale, often says that social enterprise is the future of business, and I think what you can see from this information is that we very much are on track to become that over the next few decades. But I'd like to throw in another word, and I know cooperation is the theme of the conference today, and it's a great word, and the social enterprise movement is all about cooperation and founded on cooperative principles. But you might have heard of the concept of co-opetition, and this brings together competition and cooperation. And the reason why I think that word is so appropriate is because as social entrepreneurs, we have to balance both the need to compete in markets, to be better than other forms of business, to provide customers, whether they are the government or individuals, the tools that they need and the services that they need to do their work. And we need to cooperate as well, because we know that we can't achieve this on their own. And social enterprises standing on a platform shouting at the world to get better is not enough. We need to get in there, have partnerships with businesses, with governments, with other stakeholders to really get the job done. And co-opetition, I think, wonderfully sums up that concept of balancing the need to work together, but also to compete as businesses. So I just wanted to give a few examples of how that's working in the United Kingdom, how this strategy is working, and hopefully then we can get into a bit of Q&A afterwards. So starting off with the competition side, and I think that's really important because sometimes social entrepreneurship can be seen to be a poor relation to mainstream entrepreneurship, but I want to give you some inspiring examples from the United Kingdom. Consistently, social entrepreneurs have been ahead of the game when it comes to a number of markets. We talk about the Google, the Facebooks, the Microsofts of the world, the Amazons of the world in terms of platform economies. But as I'm sure many of you know, Wikipedia, which has its foundation here based in the UK, was pretty much one of the first dominant platform businesses and now provides information and learning to billions of people around the world. Sustainable fashion, which is a topic very much in focus at the moment, a bag brand and a clothing brand, Elders and Cressy in the United Kingdom, started pioneering this concept in the 2000s, taking old fire hoses from London fire trucks and turning them into fantastic bags, wallets, and other forms of accessories, which are now being sold right across the world. So years before anybody else. In Brighton, which is just on our coast, probably not as lovely as the Latvian coast, but our coast nonetheless, we've got a bus company called the Big Lemon, which pioneered the first solar-powered bus in 2017, which is a fantastic achievement, and is also providing that community support. And mental health as well, another big topic with a lot written about it at the moment. Social enterprises have been getting on the ground, encouraging people to understand their mental health, delivering mental health first aiders in this country since 2007, years and years before other people in the private sector were picking this up. So we have a fantastic track record of competition, of innovation, of leading change around the world. And it's really important that social enterprises, we feel that we can stand up on our own and really contribute to the economy. But we also need to cooperate as well. And I thought a really good example of that would be our Bisocial Corporate Challenge. So some of you might know in the United Kingdom, Social Enterprise UK, the organisation that I work for, has a Bisocial Corporate Challenge where we have brought together over 20 of the largest companies working in this country to buy from social enterprises, to embed them into their supply chains, and to use the value and the spend of those bigger companies to help grow and incubate other social enterprises. And so far, it's only been operating for coming up to 5 years now, but it's a fantastic track record of achievement. £91 million has been spent by social enterprises during this period. Over 1,000 jobs have been created as a consequence of that spending. And we now have 380 social enterprises working with companies such as PwC, Waits, Amy, LV. There's a huge number of companies that are involved in this. And I just thought I'd pick out a few examples of that, just to kind of give a sense of what this can look like in practice. So community wood recycling takes office equipment, wood and other products which these companies and waste management companies don't want anymore, and turns it back into desks, chairs, cupboards, other things that people want to buy. And so far it's managed to save over 1,000 tons of wood from going on the scrap heap. So yeah, a fantastic contribution to our environment and helping us to progress. We've got Trojan Mailing Limited in the south of England, which takes people who have a disability, a physical or mental health challenge, and helps them to get involved in the mailing business, printing letters, posting those letters, sending them to places they need to be. And again, it's a very rewarding business which has developed some very interesting partnerships with larger companies. And Connection Crew, which is a logistics company, which again takes people who have had difficulties and come from disadvantaged backgrounds and enables them to support the logistics industry, moving things from A to B. Again, another fantastic social enterprises. Over 200 people have been employed by them and got into work over the past decade. And I think that's a flavour, I guess, of what cooperation and working together with the private sector can achieve when it's done right. But we've got some grey spaces as well. And I think particularly one area which I'm sure many of you as entrepreneurs will be grappling with is getting the access to finance that you need in order to change your business and to grow and to expand into new markets. And in the United Kingdom, we've been pioneering a market called the social investment market. You might have heard of this phrase. And what happens in that market is we try to blend social, environmental, and financial returns together to create products which enable social enterprises and social entrepreneurs to access the finance they need and to grow their business. We started from relatively humble beginnings about a decade ago, a market of around £800 million a year, supporting a few hundred social enterprises and trading charities, as we like to call them here. And now we've got to a position where over £5 billion is being invested, or has been invested into 5,000 social enterprises and charities, with over 50 funds now developed, and as a consequence, thousands of jobs created and supported. So it's an example, I think, of how, again, it's not just about direct partnerships, but that investment partnership can also be a way that we can expand social enterprise into a wider group and wider area. And I thought just one example of that, which you might be interested in, Fair for You Finance, CIC, which is a social enterprise which enables people to borrow money to buy everyday goods that they need, whether that be fridges, televisions, tables, furniture. And what's fascinating about that model is that in the United Kingdom, certainly, we did have a number of exploitative lenders, people who would try to make a lot of money from these very vulnerable people, charge very high rates of interest. And what Fair for You Finance does is charge very, very low rates of interest, very flexible repayments with opportunities to stop if your financial situation gets worse. And since, only in the space of only 5 years, that social enterprise has now been able to develop a business model which has helped over 30,000 people in the United Kingdom, helping them to get on top of their finances, to pay their bills, saving them around £9 million so far, and also helping them to improve their credit score. So they're in a position that if they want to found their own business, or they want to buy a house, or they want to do whatever, they have an opportunity to do that and access the credit that they need. And I think, that social enterprise has received money from the social investment market. It's enabled it to grow and to scale, and that's achieved a fantastic result for people both in the United Kingdom, but also setting an example which perhaps can work in Latvia or other parts of the world. And I think is an example of the opportunity there is when the private sector and the social enterprise sector come and work together. So I think, coming towards kind of the end point, and as I said, I would like to get into a bit of a Q&A if there are questions or comments from the audience. Social enterprises are competing and collaborating at the same time, and we have to do that, both in the United Kingdom, but in my organisation's work, we partner with organisations like the British Council delivering support to social enterprises right across the world, and we see this trend of cooperation and competition and collaboration working together, and it's important that social enterprises don't just fall into one of those mindsets. We have to juggle them all simultaneously, and cooperation is an incredibly important part of that platform. But there is a fine line, and what I would say is my challenge to you when you're thinking about your co-opetition and how you are competing and cooperating together is when you're developing those partnerships, they need to be based on those shared goals and values. The examples I've given you today of partnership between the private sector and social enterprises works best when those organizations share the same commitment to social or environmental change that the businesses they work with do. We can't just collaborate for the sake of collaboration. We can't cooperate for the sake of cooperation. We need to have those things based on a firm set of values. And social enterprises which do that work well are not afraid to stand up to those larger companies, to stand up to businesses and say, this is what we believe, and if you want to come on a journey with us, we can do that. But we have these principles, we have these values, and we're going to be sticking to those in the course of our work. And what I hope we can have today is a really robust conversation about how do we achieve that? How do we make sure that we are taken seriously, that those commitments to environmental and social change are made, but at the same time, we're bringing people with us on that journey. We are taking the rest of the business population, the rest of the private sector, and driving the economy forward to new and better ways of working. And just one final note, I think, and if you'll excuse the pun, that I'd like to end on is just, again, to talk about the inspiring opportunity, I guess, that is social enterprise. This is a £5 note, a very basic unit of currency in the United Kingdom. But what's inspiring about that is that small piece of paper can change the world. It can start a process which can change not only the United Kingdom, but also Latvia, the Baltic regions, and all the regions of the world. And markets are essentially about cooperation and collaboration. And what I think we should be doing and thinking about today is how can we make that relationship, those market relationships, as impactful and socially and environmentally impactful as possible? And how can we use that money, that very basic resource, we take for granted, probably don't think about, but which has a tremendous power and ripple effect across the world. How can we use that in the most effective way possible? And that's what social entrepreneurs and social enterprises are trying to achieve. And hopefully together, what we can do is to discuss the ways that we can most effectively support your development here in the Baltic region and in Latvia and around the world, and share lessons and share examples. And with Maeve and Sean later from the United Kingdom, I know they will be able to give you some fantastic examples of how they've built their businesses from the ground up and use the power of that simple £5 note I was showing you earlier to change the world. So thank you so much for inviting me here this morning. Delighted to be part of this event, and hopefully this has given you some food for thought, a bit of inspiration to start your day. And if there is some time, I'm happy to take a few comments or a few questions from the audience in this new word that I've learned today, the physical event, I think you called it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. And 12 points goes to you, Andrew.
Brilliant. I've always wanted to, can I clip that? I think the rest of the United Kingdom would love to have that.
Oh yeah, I know. We would love to. We had once in our history. But there's something very special about this event. We are asking questions to the winners. And our first question to you would be, social enterprises, sometimes they are perceived as a charity organizations. And how do you explain to the people who are in one sentence, what is the difference between social enterprise and charity, and are they working together very often?
They do work together very often, and there's not a hard and fast line that separates charity from a social enterprise. But in many cases, but the best way to describe it, I think, is that charity is about I have something and I'm giving it away. I'm giving it to a cause. Social enterprise, I have something you want and you want to pay me for it, and I will then use that money to effectively deliver that change. And I think that's a very powerful difference, because there is only so much that we can rely on people's good nature and that philanthropic impulse and charitable impulse to change things. More powerful are markets where we have products and services that everybody needs, that everybody wants to get access to, and we can build some fantastic business models, as Sean and Maeve and others have done in the United Kingdom, which say, well, you've got something, I've got something you want, you've got money to pay for it, let's work together. And that, there's, in the United Kingdom, to give an example, charitable giving is around £50 billion a year, which is a lot of money, but it's only £50 billion a year. The markets that social enterprises are working in are worth £2 trillion a year. So there's a huge potential for change if we can access that. And I think that's the best way to see social enterprise. We're trying to shift that oil tanker, that £2 billion, to do as much good as possible.
So we could call it like sustainable charity.
You could, in a way, yep, absolutely.
All right, so our attendees and listeners and viewers can ask questions in the chat on the platform, or in the chat at Facebook, or Brigitte can ask any question too.
Yes, amazing, Andrew. Amazing. I really love that you coined this thing of co-opetition. I love the idea that you can cooperate and compete at the same time, and I think that's what we need to think about, and how to really tell your value to the bigger companies that you want to cooperate with. We have a question in the chat from Erki, who's asking, what was the biggest challenge 10 years ago in developing the ecosystem for social entrepreneurship? What is the biggest challenge now, and has it changed?
I think it has changed, and it's a great question. I think when we started, basic awareness and understanding, the question you asked earlier, what is the difference between a social enterprise and a charity? What does this mean? Is it really serious? Can it actually deliver change? That was what we were trying to do. But I think thanks to the fantastic work of our social entrepreneurs in this country, we've got that awareness, we have that credibility, we have that seriousness, and I think that's a foundation that we can build on. The challenge now, I think, is we've got so many social entrepreneurs coming on board. I mean, in the last year alone, to take one small example of our sector, community interest companies, which are a form of social enterprise, since coronavirus, we've had 5,000 new social enterprises registered in the teeth of this pandemic, in the midst of all this economic uncertainty. And they need access to finance. They need tools to build their businesses and to grow. And I think that's our biggest challenge now, is how do we get the money into these social entrepreneurs, into these businesses, so that they can transform their communities, transform lives, and transform the economy. And hopefully we can work with our colleagues in the private sector. We can build those partnerships, have that cooperation, and create a win-win situation where they can invest in those businesses, get a financial return, but also help to change society and the environment for the better. And I think that's our biggest challenge. And at Social Enterprise UK, we're working very closely on that, but we know we haven't got it right yet. And we're very keen to work with our colleagues around the world to see how we can create that global market for finance, to invest in the brilliant ideas of social enterprises and social entrepreneurs right around the world.
And then we have a question from Selhatin. What do you think about social enterprises sectors or sectorial change after COVID-19? So what would change or is changing?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like a lot of businesses, I imagine in your countries as well, social enterprises were very much having to pivot from change from retail, hospitality, kind of physical businesses into the digital space. And we've seen a massive acceleration of social enterprises moving into that space and changing their business models to be more responsive to demand. I do think there is going to be some challenge there because, as I mentioned in my previous answer, digital businesses do require capital. It's quite investment intensive, unlike, say, setting up a community shop or a community cafe, which is, it does require capital, but not on the same scale perhaps as that upfront digital investment requires. And I think that's going to be that sectoral challenge of how we shift out of the pre-COVID ways of working and fully embed ourselves as digital businesses in the front line and the frontiers of our economy going forward will be a massive challenge. But what I can, again, give you some early indications of, the scores are in, as it were, and social enterprises are already starting to do that. We've seen some fantastic examples of social enterprises. Just to give one, a favourite of mine, Bikeworks. It was a social enterprise which was helping people to learn to ride bikes and fixing bikes and putting them in the community, so environmental, sustainable transport. It's now become a sort of mini Deliveroo, food distribution service and prescription delivery service. Is taking the same people it was working with to train them to ride their bikes and fix bikes, and now actually using those bikes to deliver around the world and using digital technology to do that. And a fantastic example of how, I imagine that social entrepreneur wouldn't even thought about that option before COVID struck. But when that COVID pandemic hit, they managed to move very, very quickly and create a brand new business model, an ethical delivery company, and are doing great work. So there is huge potential for that to happen and for that sectoral change.
Thank you, Andrew. Just one more minute, please stay there. For the people who ask questions, if we will not have time to answer them right now, we will ask them to the people who will take part in the discussion panel. So please write your questions anyway, even if we don't have time to answer them all. But Andrew, and for all the speakers and attendees, we have a little nice surprise for you. There's a special graphic recorder, Data Andersson, and she is putting together what she has heard from you, and at the end we will have an overview of the whole event in the graphic recorder's eyes. Can we take a look what we have heard so far? And here is Data Andersson in presence, and she is the person who will take care of visualization of this event. Data?
Yes, I came here to show up.
Yeah.
But Valdis already said what I was prepared to say.
All
As
right.
Valdis said, I'm graphic recorder and I simply doing drawings behind the scenes, and you'll see them here and they will be completed more and more, and you will see something else at the end of the day.
So that are you really doing it on fly while people are speaking, and then you're just picking out the most important things?
Kind of. Little bit is prepared before.
Yeah.
But mostly, yes, information is coming here, so it is...
And that will be available digitally for all the attendees to view?
Yes,
Great.
definitely.
Thank you very much.
Saved for everyone. Thank you, Valdis. Thank you, Regita.
And have a great day.
Great to have you here.
Thank you. Well, that's what's going on behind the scenes, and that's the way how speakers can see how they were heard after their speeches and pitches. So now, we are going to the pitches by ministries. We have heard how social entrepreneurs are working and building partnerships in UK. Let's talk about what is happening in the Baltic states, because we have to know what is the playground or what are the rules for social entrepreneurship in each of the Baltic countries. And then we can talk about how to get together and work together. So now please welcome Baltic States ministries, one after another. Questions also will be asked, but after all the ministries will speak. So ask the questions in the chat or in Facebook chat, please. Now, we'll begin with Director of Labour Market Policy Department, Ministry of Welfare of the Republic of Latvia, Imants Lipskis. Welcome.
Good morning. And thank you for the given opportunity to speak at this forum and share Latvian experience and also our legal framework and our experience also speaking about cooperation with social entrepreneurship and general speaking about social economy ecosystem in Latvia as well. So now I will share the presentation. So I hope you can see my presentation, and Yes, first of all, I would like to say that, yes, this idea of legal framework for Latvia, establishing legal framework, this process started already a few years ago. And this was thanks also to the pressure from our partners, especially from our Latvian Social Entrepreneurship Association. As you can see on this slide, a few years ago, we started our work on the concept paper. Then we decided that, yes, we need a legal framework and also to write the law. And the social enterprise law was adopted by the parliament in 2017 and came into force on the 1st of April 2018. So at this moment, we have 187 social enterprises, officially registered social enterprises. But of course, as you can imagine, the number of of NGOs, other organizations and enterprises working in this area in Latvia is much bigger. But here we can speak only about the official registered social enterprises. So, and what do we see? We have approximately 5 to 7 applications per month, and this is a job for our Social Enterprise Commission, which is organized and working together with our social with NGOs representing also companies, social enterprises. So what else do we have? We have a ESF project, Support for Social Entrepreneurship, launched in 2016, and which helps also to strengthen this new ecosystem and especially the sector for social enterprises, which means that we have grant support schemes, consulting, training, and public awareness activities as well. So speaking about definition of social enterprise, this is limited liability company, and this who can apply for the status to the Ministry of Welfare. And then if there is everything okay, and we are checking also this positive social impact, and social enterprise status can be granted. And there are also some eligibility criteria for social enterprises. For instance, like you have to put social objective very clearly, whether you are going to employ specific target groups or to provide social benefits to specific groups of people, or other activities of public interest having a lasting social impact. But a very important issue is that profits are not paid out as dividends, which is quite restrictive eligibility criteria actually, but we think that this might be changed someday in the future. And you also have to have paid employees with labor contracts in your company, and also inclusive management is very important criteria. As I said, we have 187 social enterprises in Latvia, but you know, life is life. We have also 16 companies with, for which the status was withdrawn or cancelled, and our status declined during this application revision in Social Enterprise Commission. And you can see also grants given also to social companies and other companies before this program was started. So as you can see on this slide, we have a quite popular work integration. We have a most popular target group is persons with disabilities, but also other sectors like education, healthcare, cultural diversity, social services are very popular in Latvia also, where these companies are working. Speaking about support instruments, we can see that there are some bonuses set by the law, but I have to say that these tax reliefs are not very maybe big bonus, but also as you can see, these assets may be granted or leased for free for by public persons, and also volunteers may be involved. And also ESF project is giving I think very important support, autumn grants up to 200 euros. 50,000 euros for new companies, and also we are consulting, we're organizing webinars, seminars, promoting social enterprises, ideas, counseling them, and also compensating social security payment, and also organizing awareness campaigns. and also organizing such, I think, common activities like we have a new tradition like a week of social entrepreneurship. We are organizing now every year, usually in October or November, and also visiting, interviews, surveys. This is our yearly activities in cooperation with social enterprises, and this cooperation is also organized, I think, through also very importantly to mention through Social Enterprise Commission, which is a responsible body for granting giving recommendations to the Ministry of Welfare on granting the status of social enterprises, and when reviewing the annual social activity report submitted by these enterprises. Because in this commission we are working together, ministries, organizing this cooperation, and also together with members from NGOs representing interests of social entrepreneurs. And just few examples about work integration, and which is a popular area in Latvia for social enterprise, but also some other, we have good examples, and like there's Jauna Skola, which are a company outside of Riga, and also working with modern education methods. So this range of activities are very wide. And in conclusion, I would like to say that in Latvia, during these last 3 years, we're becoming, social enterprises are becoming more and more important players in social economy. Yes, this number is not very big if we compare with the UK, as we see, but we have seen so many great ideas by Latvian social entrepreneurs, and we are very optimistic for the future that this number will grow. And thank you very much for their efforts and their passion to this. Thank you.
And we will ask those questions at the end of all 3 ministry pitches. You can write them in chat or Facebook chat. And by the way, the presentations will be, for those who registered, sent to email, or will be published in sua.lv webpage. But now, let's move on to next 5 minutes. And those will be by advisor to the Department of Civil Society, Ministry of the Interior of the Republic of Estonia, Minna Harjo. Minna, welcome.
Yes, hello. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes.
I will just share my slide now. Okay, can you see the slides?
Yes.
Excellent. So hi everyone from Estonia. My name is Minna Harjo, and I'm an advisor to the Civil Society Policy Department at the Ministry of the Interior. I'm not very fast speaker, so squeezing everything to 5 minutes has been quite a challenge, but let's see how we go. So what's the current situation in Estonia? We're definitely at early stages of development, especially in comparison to many other European countries. And there is a general lack of public awareness and some misconceptions regarding social entrepreneurship in terms of its opportunities and potential impact to the society. So some of the key challenges, there's quite a bit of fragmentation in the social business ecosystem, restrictions when it comes to access to finance, lack of awareness as already mentioned, quite a limiting legal framework, gaps in skills and capacity building, and as to date we do not have a common official definition yet. But it's not all doom and gloom. We do have some strengths and opportunities as well, such as a great dynamic civil society, a very vibrant startup culture, and quite a few universities are offering special courses and modules designed for learning social entrepreneurship. We also have some great strong partnership between public, private and third sector. We see a lot of unreleased potential in the field, and for those who decide to pursue their entrepreneurship goals in social business, there's already quite a good infrastructure in place. So a few words about legal framework. So currently there's no separate law on social entrepreneurship, nor is there a special register. Our social enterprises are established as non-profit associations, foundations, and private limited companies, and some do operate as hybrid organizations as well. So in terms of official definition, this is very much work in progress. We're finalizing the final official wording, and we'll be able to report on that soon. So some numbers. According to Statistics Estonia, officially back in 2018, there were 126 social enterprises in Estonia, with 45.7 million euro sales generated income and approximately 1,800 paid staff. The industries where our social businesses operate vary, but some of the most popular are social welfare, health, both physical and mental, and education. So the support infrastructure has different dimensions. Some key organizations are Social Enterprise Estonia, the National Foundation of Civil Society, and the Gooding Foundation. There are some great incubator programs, such as the Social Innovation Incubator and Business Idea Incubator IOYAT, which has a special section for social enterprises. Enterprises and NGOs can get local counseling from the County Development Centre Network Counsellors, and we like to take advantage of different EU projects and funding, and there are a couple of these running at the moment. And there's also strategic partnership, the goals of which are defined in the Civil Society Programme, which is published by the Ministry of the Interior. And every 4 years, 4 strategic partners are selected for a public tender to kind of advance 4 different goals established in the programme. So for the second consecutive terms, the Ministry has selected Social Enterprise Estonia to advance social entrepreneurship, especially in improving operating environment of social enterprises, and also make sure that our social enterprises are sustainable. And finally, a couple of examples of some Estonian social enterprises. So from the field of education, we have Edumus, who bring together highly educated professionals in schools to alleviate teachers' shortages and also reducing teachers' workload. And secondly, from the field of social welfare, we have Communicare, who alleviate loneliness and lack of communication of elderly people who live in care homes by offering digital communication means with different methods. So thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Minna. Thank you. But please don't go far away, because we will have also questions from Estonia, and at the end of these presentations we will get to them. Now let's move to Lithuania. Chief Officer at Business Policy Division, Ministry of the Economy and Innovation of the Republic of Lithuania, Simona Gaidytė. Simona, welcome.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
First of all, I would like to thank you for having me here today. And I will try to share some news about the situation in Lithuania regarding social business that we called it. So I will share my presentation. Can you see it? Yes? Everything is okay? Okay, so for today we had quite difficult situation because we still don't have any legal regulation.
Full screen, please.
So we still don't have any legal regulation on social business. We tried to establish the law on social business development. So we have prepared the draft of the law where we had provided all important regulatory dimensions, but this draft is still in the parliament and probably will be rejected. So for today, we will be without any legal regulation. But we still have some document, the concept of the social business. And nevertheless, the ecosystem feel the need to establish the definition of social business and currently seeking to define it. But for today, the concept of the social business can help us to have the definition for this process. So social business is an economic activity which pursues objectives and social impact for the benefit of the society or its group, and from which the profits are used to achieve these effects. And at the same time, social impact is a change experienced by the society or its group as a result of activities carried out by social business. what is important, that Lithuania have two different concepts, social business and social enterprises. The purpose of social enterprises is to promote the return to the labor market, the social integration, and reduce the social exclusion by employing persons belonging to the target groups. But the social business includes not only the employment of the certain society-sensitive groups, but also suggests solutions of various social problems, like climate change, public education, and other. It is important to know it because this model is not very common in Europe, and these two different concepts are regulating by two different ministries. So social enterprise belongs to the Ministry of Security and Labor Ministry, and social business for us, Ministry of Economy and Innovation. So, despite the fact that there's no legal regulation on social business, it is constantly increasing. So for today, we have around 100 social businesses in Lithuania, and how it works if we have some struggles. Social business has all financial instruments for small and medium-sized businesses, but unfortunately, there is no specific financial support for the social business as such. But our agency, Enterprise Lithuania, has a various tools to help our ecosystem to function. The newest tool that they suggest is business registration system. On this website, you can find the list of Lithuanian social businesses. And if you register your social business, you're not just included in the list, but you also can get consultations, help for your enterprises, such as how to measure your social impact, or also you can get trainings in the various topics. So if we don't have a legal regulations for social businesses, we support the ecosystem with other tools. Okay, sorry, I missed the slide one, but as I mentioned, that these instruments, and it would be the best if the social business was present by themselves, who are actually doing a significant work. And also some of them are participating in this meeting, but if I can exclude some two examples, one of them is the City Laboratory, that is cohesive educational community that pursues its goal of having an active local community and contributing to the dissemination of more sustainable ecological lifestyle ideas. And another one is the social taxi. That is the only one social innovation in Lithuania that allows people with disabilities to become more mobile and independent in planning their daily activities. The provided service ensures efficient organization of trips of people that with disabilities to places of economic and social areas like work, hospital, education, and educational institutions, cinema, parks, shops, etc. So this social taxi transportation and also escort service are provided for 24/7 basis according to the individual needs of person with a disability. So we are very proud of them, and we are. I hope you will find out more our social businesses and our ecosystem. So thank you for your attention, and sorry that I didn't manage to squeeze in the 5 minutes.
Yes, you're in a club of equals, I must say. It is quite challenging, especially if you have so many changes going on in this field in Lithuania. Thank you, Simona. Now questions. We have some questions, some comments. First comment is by Dan. Visited RB Cafe. They are awesome. Thank you. You can write your questions in the chat or any of chats on Facebook pages. So first question to all of you, Imants, Minna and Simona. What could be learned or adopted from neighboring countries? You've listened and said, wow, we need this. So could we start with Imants? Were there something you were listening and saying, you know what, Latvia should adopt this?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think that as it was seen from my presentation, we have a quite fixed legal framework, which means that we have to revise it also from time to time, and which means that we have to also take the best ideas from our neighbors or other countries. And I think that speaking about this eligibility criteria and this especially about this cooperation, there are so many things which cannot be fixed in the law or in the regulations, in governmental regulations. So I think that when we speak about this cooperation, I think as I see and as I understood from our colleagues in other countries is that this cooperation with other ministries, with other public authorities, and especially giving and generating more supportive instruments. For instance, as you can see in Latvia, the Ministry of Welfare, the Ministry for Social Affairs is responsible body here for social entrepreneurship framework in Latvia. But of course, I think that more involvement of Ministry of Economics and other institutions should be also a very important issue. This is a very important issue. I think I will bring back to my office and to speak about this cooperation and involvement of other actors who could help, who would generate additional supportive mechanisms for our social enterprises.
That's why we are here today. So thank you, Imants. Minna, one thing.
Yes, I think the key takeaway definitely is to learn more from other countries in the Baltics, because I have to be honest, I wasn't too aware about what's going on in Latvia and Lithuania in terms of social enterprises. So yes, I think the key is to actually speak to each other, maybe see what's going on in the neighboring countries, and maybe we can all find better solutions for each of our countries accordingly. So
thank you.
That's my takeaway.
Thank you. And Simona.
So we definitely need to establish some legal regulations, and I'm very happy that I heard from Latvia their example how they regulate their social enterprises. So this information is really very vital for us, and we will, I think, we'll contact later as institution, and maybe we'll have some chat or more detailed information from them. So thank you very much.
We have one very specific question, which is about Estonia. What are the government plan to better the legal framework for Estonia's social enterprises? But I would like to skip that for a while. Why? Because to all the speakers, the question is how young people position to interest on social entrepreneurship. In Turkey, it's quite new and trend topic. So how is young people's position to interest? So maybe how to make them interested in social entrepreneurship. What is your take? Or policy? Anybody? If you have something specific to tell about that. Young people, social entrepreneurship. Just raise your hand. All right, there's something to think about. Well, and then last question was from Ellery. The government plans to make better legal framework for Estonia's SE. I would say, what is the closest thing you are planning to do in this field? So what is the fresh thing to talk about? Minna?
Yes, I think at the moment a lot of different ministries see social entrepreneurship in different ways. So there needs to be better communication between different ministries, but also not to be so stuck with the legal forms of these social enterprises. but focus on impact and what type of legal kind of framework would be the best for these companies to be able to maximize their impact. So not to be stuck with, let's say you have this legal form, private limited companies, you have access to these kind of support measures, you're an NGO, you have access to these kind of things. So we need to focus on the impact of these companies and make it a lot more flexible.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you, Imants, Minna, Simone. And the rest of the questions, for example, Marta has a good question. We will ask in our discussion panel to the people involved. Just keep writing your questions. We'll deal with them anyway. So now let's see the graphic recording. Yes, that's the name for it. And here we have all 3 Baltic states and their ministry pitches.
Amazing overview. We have an impact there, and the local communities and the number of social enterprise as well.
And I like the hand. That feels like a support,
yes.
I must say. Thank you, Dace. Thank you very much. And presentations also will be seen on your email if you're registered or on sua.lv webpage. Now let's move on. And these are now pitches by associations. We have a playground ready. You know the framework, legal framework. And now let's see social entrepreneurship ecosystem and partnerships in the Baltics, how that works. Social entrepreneurship ecosystem, what collaborations are being developed already by the leading organizations in the field, in the countries. You can ask questions and please listen carefully. Now we will begin 5 minutes by Director of Social Entrepreneurship Association of Latvia, Regita Zēļa. You already know her.
Yes, hello and welcome. And today it's my pleasure to talk about ecosystem in Latvia and one specific partnership that we have created here. So who is who in our social entrepreneurship ecosystem? First of all, we have those RUPORs that are, of course, Welfare Ministry of Latvia, us as association, gathering together more than 126 members, both NGOs and social enterprises. And as for the capacity building, we have very vibrant players in our ecosystem. The main ones in the social entrepreneurship being the New Door, Social Entrepreneurship Accelerator, and Reach for Change Incubator. There are many organizations which are there for the ecosystem of enterprises like business incubators of Investment Agency of Latvia and more than 7 universities offering courses or programs for social entrepreneurship. As for the finance, as you already know, we have ESF grant run by state institution Altum, which was mentioned by Welfare Ministry, as well as many other finance instruments that are available and used by social entrepreneurs. And we can say that recognition is growing. There is more and more municipalities, media attention, and the other institutions recognizing the importance of social entrepreneurship and that social entrepreneurs can make the change. If we zoom in on what we as association do, we work in 3 main directions. First of all, it's the capacity of our members. Second of all, it's advocacy for their needs. And third of all, it's a raising awareness of the general public. There are around 55 public events that we organize each year and more than 400,000 direct audience that we are reaching, and we are #1 in social entrepreneurship in Latvia. But of course, as every organization, we have challenges. And one of the challenges that we started to understand is how to bring social entrepreneurship to the regions of Latvia. And together with British Council Latvia, from 2017, we started to experiment and to try out 2 approaches. First of all, we tried bottom-up approach with ambassador network coordinated by us in the regions of Latvia. And second of all, we understood that it's not enough to bring awareness to the local communities, but we also need to work top-down. Focused work with local municipalities really matters. And that's where the magic happens. So what we did was that we had 3 pilot municipalities, which were Rezekne, Līvāni, and Ogre municipalities. And our aim was to strengthen the cooperation between social enterprises and local municipalities and also inform the wider society about the role of social enterprises. So what we did together was that first of all, we mapped the situation in the local municipalities, created the awareness and experience exchange for those municipalities. Second of all, we built the capacity and bridges to really bring the cooperation to those municipalities and to those localities, online consultations and educational webinars. And third of all, we created a really good toolbox so that any municipality would know what they actually can do in terms of the legal framework of the social enterprise law here in Latvia. And what we learned through this was that top-down and bottom-up approaches make a difference. That's where the magic happens. If we work together to bring awareness to the community, but also work with the local stakeholders, because they are the ones that they can bring the change to their local ecosystems, create local ecosystems in the regions so that social entrepreneurs would feel welcome there. And focused work really brings results. But of course, it's really important that there are a specific personal involvement from stakeholders. It's the key for the success. And what was the impact? First of all, it was very important that we mapped more than 60 potential social enterprises in those 3 municipalities. We created the practical toolbox that was used by all of the municipalities in Latvia, and it can still be found on our website. And it's a good tool for them to understand what's their role in this. And we can see that after our work, there's growing interest from all level stakeholders in the regions. And also, the President of Latvia stressed the importance of the social enterprises and the work together with the municipalities. And tomorrow, we have the municipality elections. And after work, we can see that more than half municipalities, some of the candidates have their promises to create even more vibrant social entrepreneurship ecosystem in the regions. And we can see that that's the impact of us working together with the municipalities to really bring the change to the regions. And I would like to finish with the quote of my dear colleague Madara, that one can do a lot, but together we can achieve even more. Let's collaborate, let's partner up, and make even better change here in the Baltics. Thank you.
Thank you, Regita. Perfect 5 minutes. And by the way, if you hear some noises here, those are just gentlemen washing the roof right above us. So we are in the middle of action. And some seagulls, of course, because Riga is quite close to the sea. Now let's hear the CEO and Senior Consultant of Stories for Impact, Jan Ups. Welcome, Jan.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Let's see.
Yes?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Jan Ups, and I was asked on behalf of Estonian Association to do the presentation. I was a co-founder and long-time leader of Social Enterprise Estonia, our association. And as the focus of the presentation is on impact measurement partnerships, which I'm daily working at the Stories for Impact, which is a consultancy and research agency for social impact management. So I'm giving this brief overview. And like you saw about the Latvia, also Estonian social enterprise ecosystem is very diverse. Here is one of the ways how the borders between different sectors can be drawn, although those borders are quite artificial. And to give just a few examples, number one, you already heard the presentation of our Ministry of the Interior. And under Ministry of Interior, there is a National Foundation of Civil Society, which is already from 2009, has also supported social entrepreneurship as one of the eligible priorities. So non-profit associations and foundations, their capacity building as social enterprises. Number two is our association, Social Enterprise Estonia, which is doing both capacity building and advocacy for the sector. Number three is Estonian biggest startup competition, and one of their big sponsors is SEB Bank, for example, and social entrepreneurship and social startups in general have already been for many years one of the special prizes at this startup competition. And from our universities, I would like to point out Tallinn University, because in our region, they are unique in the sense that they have English language master's program. So not master's course, but master's program, MA in social entrepreneurship, and it's a global program. So each year, students around the world participate in it. And there are many other interesting examples, sometimes working more individually, sometimes thankfully working more in partnerships. If you're more interested, you can contact Social Enterprise Estonia about our social enterprise ecosystem. And concerning impact measurement partnerships, why those partnerships are needed? Because impact measurement is not yet something that the most organizations, even social enterprises, can routinely do. They are struggling with expertise, resources, etc. So cooperation is much needed, not just those eager organizations, social enterprise who would like to measure their impact, but also some funding and expertise to support them, because it's not yet this routine activity like accounting. And of course, disseminating the measurement examples to make it more popular and to reach more standardized solutions as well. And in the Baltic states, as well as in Estonia, concerning joint research, development and training on impact management topics, very useful has been Erasmus Plus program. For example, here you can see a few years ago a guide and a training course, Maximize Your Impact, for social entrepreneurs. It was a cross-border project, and Social Value UK from the United Kingdom was also part of the consortium. And at the moment, with organizations from Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, there is have just started a very exciting project concerning developing impact measurement and impact management for those social enterprises and other organizations who are working for the benefit of young people. So you can expect already some news from our communication channels very, very soon. And two examples from Estonia specifically. For example, Nula Incubator, an incubator for social startups, is a very good example of partnerships. So it's financed by National Foundation of Civil Society. Its implementer is Good Deed Foundation. Also, some private corporations are volunteering, and Stories for Impact is helping the incumbents to create theory of change, choose their key performance indicators, and establish a measurement system which would be easy enough for the startups. And together with Good Deed Foundation's Good Deed Impact Fund, we have also developed much more advanced solutions for those social enterprises and NGOs from the portfolio of Good Deed Impact Fund who want to scale up their impact. For example, there a very important part has been technological solutions, also IT solutions to collect and analyze impact data. So to wrap it up, impact measurement and management is the core of social entrepreneurship. Of course, it's not a routine activity yet for organizations. It needs some additional resources, some additional expertise, and cooperation is essential to achieve it. Thank you very much for your attention.
So still, you can ask questions or make comments on what you have heard, and we will read them out if we will have time right after all of the three associations. But please, also speakers, listen carefully to each other. I have one question for you all three too. Now, head of Lithuanian Social Business Association, Victoria Braziunaite. Welcome, Victoria.
Hello. Hello to everyone.
Hello.
Yes, let me share my screen with you. Is everything okay? Yes. I was asked to present.
Please share your screen.
Excuse me? Okay,
Please share
great.
Screen.
Yeah, great, thank you. Now I hope you see it. Great. So I was asked to share with you some information about our association's cooperation with ministries. So goal of my pitch is to give that overview, but before this I will give a short some short comments about our ecosystem, its needs, strengths and weaknesses. From my colleague from the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, you saw some situation information. So I will add some on top of that. Our ecosystem challenge and need is to build a thriving ecosystem of social entrepreneurship in Lithuania. Strength is what strength we have. So it's origin of social entrepreneurship in Lithuania, which is originated back in almost 600 years ago, when we had a vibrant non-profit sector. And before Second World War, we have almost 8,000 associations registered in the country. As you were all aware of, during the Soviet period, this was stopped and forbidden. And when just before we regained independence, Caritas, founding summit of Caritas paved the way for the social economy in Lithuania. And an active action have been taking since we joined the European Union. Weakness, I believe, is the current social enterprise ecosystem is at early stage development. We still need to define actors, relations between various actors, responsibilities. It's on the way. Here in this slide, you can see actors in our early stage ecosystem. In blue color, you see the main active actors. So at the left side, you see Ministry of Social Security and Labor, Ministry of Economy, Innovation and Agriculture, institutions, civil society initiatives and other organizations promoting social enterprises. So it's universities, our Vilnius University, Kaunas University, who have some programs in the curriculums. Also local action groups, change makers who are running change makers who are running accelerator program for social entrepreneurs, NGO, Avilys, public enterprise Gerinori. Also intermediaries, Invega, Catalysta Ventures, what could be solutions to the challenge I mentioned? It's partnership. One of them is partnership with ministers to advancing social entrepreneurship ecosystem. So here you see on the left side our association, which was established in 2018, our main aim and mission is to contribute to the creation of favorable ecosystem for entrepreneurship, for social entrepreneurship. And at the moment we are cooperating, we are developing our cooperation with ministries, with 3 ministries. So first you see Ministry of Social Security and Labor. We are very happy to have a cooperation under the umbrella support program, which is called ICANN. So in Lithuania, it's spelled out competencies, innovation, leadership, and investment. So we are going to develop organizational capacities of social enterprises, also develop active advocacy activities. As well, we are engagement of social actors of key actors into decision-making processes, as well to conduct this year a survey of current situation on national and regional levels. With the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, we are having a constant formal and informal consultations on social entrepreneurship promotion, as well as policy making proposals from our side, and statements and comments on strategic planning documents. As you're aware of, we just in the end of last year, we had a new government and new plans, new governmental programs were in place. And third ministry we have active cooperation with is the Ministry of Agriculture. So we are also having a constant formal and informal consultations on social entrepreneurship promotion in regions, and capacity and building and raising awareness actions in regions as well. So so that's it from me. I don't see how much time I have left. So 0 minutes. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for Regita and her team. And yeah, let's cooperate for positive change in our region.
Thank you, Victoria. And yes, you will have to learn from one another, and I guess you're working quite closely already, so you will find out what are the things from these presentations you can use. Let me remind you that you can find presentations, you will be able to find them on the webpage of Latvian Association, and those will be sent also for the registered ones to the email, so you can go through and read them very carefully. Now we have time for one question, though. The rest of the questions will be addressed anyway, so not to worry about that. There's one comment. Thank you very much for involving Rēzekne district municipality in the project. It was a great empowerment of SE in the region, and the toolbox was very needed. That's by Iveta B. Thank you, Iveta. And Mother is asking a question to all three associations. What is one institutional framework, not necessarily legal, ecosystem thing missing in your countries in order to bring the SE industry to the next level? So what is one thing you really need badly? Regita.
Yes, thank you for your question, Madara. And I think the answer is that we really need some scaling options and scaling programs to really help social entrepreneurs to take the next step. So, because we have a lot of things for the idea authors, but we really need those scaling options. And of course, private investment would be very appreciated for our social entrepreneurs. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Regita. Jan.
One of the solutions that needs to be scaled up is some basic solution for theory of change and impact key performance indicators to help social enterprises very easily plan and measure and communicate their impact, because concerning accounting and financial management, such simplified approaches are available, so we need the same for impact and impact measurement. Thank you.
Thank you. So some statistics and data. Victoria, what is your take on this?
I would like to really agree with Jan. I think impact measurement is very, very important, and in Lithuania we would need some maybe some methodologies, some support to social entrepreneurship to measure the impact. Because this, how Andrew has mentioned at the beginning, how you show credibility and importance and impact of your work. Yeah, so that's
Thank you. Thank you, Regita, Jan, Victoria. I wish you a great day and cooperation between the associations and those who are giving that legal framework you have mentioned also. But then now let's see the graphic recording by Dace, how Dace was listening to you and what is the takeaway here. Well, that is getting more and more interesting. Let's take a look.
We could see social impact there, yes. It has been mentioned a lot. And there are, of course, tools and the impact for local communities. Great, great. It's amazing to see what we are doing here in the Baltics.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dace. And we will go on with filling this big screen up with some digital recordings. But now we will have a 5-minute break. And I would like to ask one thing from you. Could you please write in the chat of the platform what is one thing you're observing right now from your window or the scenery next to your lakeside or seaside? One thing. I'm now seeing the seagull watching straight to us from above, and it looks a little cringy. So, 5-minute break, and please write in the chat what's one thing you can observe from your window. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back. There's one thing I wanted to know. What is behind your window? Behind my window, I see, it's not a window actually, it's a roof. I see the seagull just watching very strangely at me. But there are very interesting things you see. Balloons. Merely. What kind of balloons? Then trees, Turkish coffee, old town buildings, sunshine, flowering lilac bush, sun. The sun and a beautiful garden. My bike on the balcony. Oh wow, balloons sound festive. Festive. Here's Sun and Trees by Christine. Apple Tree, Beate. A small pond with ducks in it. A lot of trees in the garden, sunshine and robot lawnmower on work. Very convenient. Then sky, big beautiful trees, clouds, not much of sun. I see the world without the COVID. Who would like to wear my glasses? The question goes by Welcome Birdie Limited. And Elina, I can observe rooftops of Cesis, Old Town. Greetings from Cesis, everyone. I love Cesis, says Andra. And colorful balloons by Merely. Thank you very much. Now we know where are you and what you can see from your window. Now we will go on with Baltic United Kingdom Social Entrepreneurship Forum, and impact stories is one of the most interesting parts of this event. We will hear the most valuable part, and there will be the knowledge, experience and inspiration, hopefully. 5 stories from social entrepreneurs on social entrepreneurship and building business partnerships, which were mentioned very often today. Questions still can be asked, and those will be asked to the speakers right after their speeches, but if they will leave us some time for questions. So now please welcome. We'll begin with founder and CEO of Pirmas Blinas, Lithuania, Tim van Viek. Tim, you're on.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I will share my screen. Can everyone see it?
Yes, if you please just go full screen.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, now it is. Good. I just cannot see you guys anymore.
We are here, believe me.
Okay, good. When my time is up, just tell me, because I don't see the clock either.
Okay.
But I'll manage. Hi everyone. I'm Tim. I'm from the Netherlands, which is not in the Baltic states, of course. I moved here about 5 years ago, and when I came here to Lithuania, I saw that there is not really anything going on for guys with a disability, and I thought maybe there's something I can do here. Maybe I can start up something to have them a bit more integrated into society. And actually, this whole what we're doing today about partnerships and contacts, that is actually where my story basically also starts, because when I came here, I knew only my girlfriend, who is Lithuanian, and for the rest, I had not one single contact. So I had no idea where to start, who to contact, how to start up a business in general, especially not in a country where I do not speak the language. So I needed contacts, and I needed cooperations and partnerships. And we're now open 3 years, and I think I created a lot of contacts, a lot of partnerships. And yeah, I would just like to shortly, because I only have 10 minutes, to go through the small stages of partnerships and contact that I went through. So first, when I came here, as I said, I noticed that there was nothing going on for guys with disability. So I wanted to see, where do these guys go? What are they doing during the day? And I found out that there is like daycare centers. And in these daycare centers, guys with a disability, they go there every day and they make art, they make candles, and in the end of the day, they go home. These guys then do not get paid for that. It's just a day activity, and I think in most of the countries these are the same. At least in the Netherlands, they're exactly the same as here in Lithuania. So my first step was go there and see how these daycare centers were working, what they were doing, to have some contact there. And through them, I got other contacts from organizations around people with a disability that had contacts with ministries, that had contact with other governmental organizations. So through the daycare centers, I went to them and there I explained my idea. I wanted to open a cafe where guys with a disability would serve. Basic idea was coffee and a cookie or a cake. And I went there and I asked, is that interesting for this country, this city, Vilnius, the capital, or is it just something that I think is interesting, but Lithuania is not really looking for that? Everyone said, wow, that's great, start it, we would like to help. Or organizations said, we wanted to start it, but we didn't know how, we don't have the funds, we don't have the money, we don't have the know-how of how to do it, but if you do it, we will support you. So with that question basically asking, is it interesting for you to start it? I gained more contact and in, let's say, the government organizations. Then I had to look for people that could help me start the business itself, because I have never started a business in my life. I don't have the contact here to start up a business, because you still need to have funds and people that have know-how in food business and other things. And actually then I found a request on Facebook. It was written by an organization, Gerinole, and actually I'll change my slides to the last one. Oh, you cannot even see the last one. This one, yes. Gerinole on the right. And they were actually looking for future social entrepreneurs. They were asking to fill in some paper for a application for meetings with them and like a fast course. So I saw that about 10 minutes before the deadline, and apparently that request had been for a couple of weeks, but 10 minutes before the deadline, I saw their opening for this. So I jumped in it. I wrote as fast as I could, and I joined. Through them, I got a lot of contacts with inside the parliament people, other business people. I got partnerships in banks. I got a lot of other contacts through them. And they have been super important still, because they're still kind of partners from us. We work together for presentations and other activities. Then I kind of decided what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to do is this. I wanted to start a pancake house, let's say. The guys I wanted to hire, because it was still a social thing, were these. This is our team. It's a bit bigger now. I wanted to hire guys with a disability, and not just give them practice, so not just unpaid work, but actually give them a salary. And the goal from us was actually to have, the goal is not our workers itself. Of course, we work a lot with our workers, our employees. We give them a lot of trainings. They get salary, so they can buy their own clothes. Their parents can now work because their kids have work here. So instead of only dad who is working and kid and mom stays at home, now dad, mother, and son is working. So they have a much bigger income now as a family. But actually the main goal is to attract society to come in here, our place, to eat, and to experience that these guys, our workers, can work properly and can work well. Yeah, so that was our goal. But for that, I needed to find workers. And I thought that would be super easy, right? Because there's no other business in Lithuania that is hiring guys with a disability, not that openly as we do at least. So I thought that would be super easy. And it turned out that was very difficult because people actually didn't trust me, as it turned out, as being a foreigner coming here, starting up a business that no one really understood. And then I want to hire guys with a disability. So later I heard that parents who have kids with a disability that can work properly, they came later to our place and said, my son can work in your place. And I said, yeah, well, I called you when we started. And he said, no, back then we didn't know who you were. We thought maybe you had bad intentions. Maybe you wanted to just use our child. So it was super hard to find workers because we needed five employees we wanted with a disability. And on ourselves, we found only one. And the others we found through other organizations, through the Down syndrome organization, through SOPA, which is a job coach agency for guys with a disability.
Tim, excuse me, you have 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left, good. So these contacts we still have and we keep very, very close. And we found that the contacts of these organizations, they're actually the most important thing and the reason we're still open. For example, with the Down syndrome organization, we have after they found 2 workers for us, because they asked all their base if they knew people that might want to work in our cafe, our restaurant. And after that 2 years, we didn't do anything with them. But later we started to have lessons about Down syndrome. We invite schools here with classes and we organize these lessons where the Down syndrome organization, they prepared a lesson about Down syndrome and after that the kids eat here. Especially between the quarantines that we have basically still and before, that was basically our main income. These lessons, because we have 1 or 2 of these classes a day, which means we have 60 kids eating here, which is very big part for us. But also other cooperations we started, and what we always try to do, because we see ourselves as a business, we are not an NGO, we have no status as social business or social enterprise. So what we do, everywhere we go, we offer our products. We, for example, went to the Vilnius municipality and for help, or at least they came to us, how can we help you? We said, we don't want your help, we want to sell our products. So we sold them coupons for Christmas party, Christmas gift. So they gave 620 of their workers or something these coupons. And we try to do the same with every other company, every other cooperation. We are a business, so we are selling our product and we never just want to hold up our hands and ask for money. And I think that is where we differentiate ourselves with other organizations or social enterprises. Do I still have 5 seconds?
5, just 5.
Just 5, okay. So I had to speak very quickly.
No, 5 seconds.
I hope it was clear. Thank you very much for listening. And later I am hosting a house party where I can explain a bit more.
Yes.
And where I can show you what we actually do.
That's a great idea, and we can feel that you can sell your product. In this case, also the house party, and that's a great way to how to collaborate and cooperate. So it is an issue of trust very often, but the product could speak for you. So thank you, Tim. One very, very brief reminder about the house parties. We will have like 6 house parties, and Tim is owner of one of them. And all the questions you can ask to Tim there, and maybe find out some ways to cooperate. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much. Well, let's move on. Our next speaker is co-founder of Merkur Estonia, Lauri Soosaar. Lauri, your 10 minutes, and in case you have some time for questions left, we will ask them.
I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay, let's start. Hello, my name is Lauri. I'm a co-founder of Merkur.
Merkur has developed a series of mobile workshops to introduce young people to various professions, work practices, and tools to be found in the metal and woodworking sectors. It provides an opportunity to gain hands-on experience, raises interest in these professions, and for vocational training in these sectors. In mobile classrooms equipped with modern technology, students can test their engineering skills, try various techniques and tools, and make exciting products. In 3 years, the Merkur team has organized over 700 science, technology, and engineering workshops for about 7,000 young people.
I'm a teacher, engineer, and entrepreneur. I have a strong metal sector background and worked in different metal sector companies. I got STEM teacher qualification in 2018 and focused 100% to education. I work as a technology teacher in different Estonian schools with my own technology class. I'm a board member of Estonian Association of Technology Education and also Network of Estonian Teachers Association. I would like to inspire young people by the field of technology and engineering. As a teacher, I face the challenge of teaching technology every day. Schools don't have resources to buy modern equipment and tools. Girls are not welcome to technology class. Engineering specialties are not very popular. Estonian companies don't have enough skilled workers. We started generating ideas of mobile workshops in the end of 2016. We got €100,000 from Estonian Ministry of Education for developing and piloting our solution in Estonian school network. We presented first mobile workshop in April 2017, and our non-stop journey started. Here you can see what we have done. We have developed compact and mobile dream classrooms. We have built mobile workshops, equipped them with real tools and skilled teacher. We go where our youth and make together real things. I'm a teacher with my own classroom. I go to the school, open my classroom, students go in, I give my lesson, close, and next school. Our target group is youngsters from age 7 to 18. We operate in the field of formal and non-formal educational field. Our first workshop solution was based on CNC operator profession. All pupils is a CNC operator and will make their own aluminum USB memory stick. All our lesson plans is based on the group's maximum 15 pupils, and our workshop lasts 1.5 hours. During this workshop, we are milling with CNC router in the eyes of the pupils their own USB memory sticks, aluminum body elements. We have made approximately 1,000 units of those. It's a very unique solution in Estonian school education system. We started to go deeper and started to build our own CNC classroom concept. At the moment, we have 7 SnapMaker 3-in-1 CNC machines. All machines has options to 3D print and CNC milling and CNC laser engraver, and worked out about 10 different lesson plans. We like to work with small groups, and our CNC workshop has built up as a pair work, 2 pupils with computer and CNC machine. Here you can see some of our workshop product samples: picture spinner, electric soldering project, aluminum milled USB memory stick, bionic fish, headphones with stand and LED light, Bluetooth speaker, wall clock. We have organized 100 technology events for 9,000 young people. We have developed 2 mobile workshops and over 80 learning solutions for the secondary school. We are 3 hours away from every point in Estonia. The mobile workshop service is a good example of partnerships between schools and enterprise. We work together with sector companies, schools, and local municipalities. We have long-term partners in Estonian school network and hobby education. Private sector companies support us. In this short time, we have been noticed from different sectors. We have very big experiences with traveling with pop-up workshops, and of course we know where we can be more effective. We wish to develop the concept of future mobile classroom and methodological study materials for both students and teachers to expand into the Estonian and international educational sphere. Together, we could develop next generation mobile workshops. We must be faster and smarter. Together, we are better. Ideas without action aren't ideas. We have different options. We invest in youth. Invest you do. Thank you. I am finished.
That was, we invest in you, invest you too. That's a great line. So you're saying that if people don't come to you, you just go to them and to their doorsteps where they can't miss you. And
Yes.
so that's quite an active approach. And have you really been to all those places you show on the map in those last 4 years?
Yes. And yes, we can be everywhere. We can put up our workshop in the village, in the forest, with generator electricity. We only need electricity and youths. And you can't be without us anymore in Estonia.
And then what is the way further on? If you see the kid or maybe an adult really interested in this, where do you take them? What do you do with them? Where do you send them?
In Estonia, I have teachers in different Estonian schools. There are a lot of schools that don't have a teacher, equipment, nothing. Then I go to the school with my own classroom and I give technology lessons. We are active in formal and non-formal. We work together with youth centers, summer camps, works camps. Also, we have been unicorn summer days action. We made table tennis rackets there, 200 pieces near the bear house.
So real products. If we need something, we just ask you and make it fun. Who pays for all that? So I mean, customers are paying.
Local municipalities, parents, schools. We are open for every payment.
Regita, any questions from you there?
Amazing, Laurie. I mean, I think the business model is really great, and as Valdis mentioned, that you come to the doorstep. But what would be your suggestions to the ones listening? Where to start? Where to start the partnerships? And what is your takeaway and the one thing that you would like to suggest to the other social entrepreneurs?
Ideas without action aren't ideas.
Act. Okay, great.
You know, you have to have a quite high self-esteem to believe that what you do could be interesting also for the others. Where did you get that?
One winter we had one company winter days, and Santa Claus came in. They made fidget spinners.
Yeah.
And youths are not going to the Santa Claus, they stayed in my workshop.
That's amazing.
More questions?
No.
No, Laurie, that was perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, you can ask questions to our speakers in the chat box. And if we are not ready to address them now, we will bring them to the discussion panel, which will follow right after these presentations. But now let's ask founder and director of Barboleta from Latvia, Baiba Blomniece-Jurāne. Baiba, you're welcome.
Nice to see you, and I am going to share my screen soon, and I'm ready to do it. And let's start. I am Baiba Blomniece Jurane, and Barboleta from Portuguese means butterfly, and butterfly needs special conditions to develop as butterfly, because in the start it's caterpillar. The same as child, he needs special conditions to develop as a successful person. And our mission is to open children potential, creating effective learning environment and learning tools. We see that 20% in population has learning difficulties. More and more children have attention problems. They have lack of movement, and actually they have lack of motivation and interest to learn in all systems. Our solution is balance boards. We created balance boards, and they connect body movements, body coordination, balance, and learning. And we see in our research that attention, interest, learning success increases very much. Also, it's an option for children to move and to learn, and adults have effective tool to work with. And let's see video how it looks like. We put tasks in the sides of the balance board, and child can pay attention 4 times better. We can teach everything: language, math, grammar, sciences, and we can start work from 1.5 to adults. Let's move forward, and I will tell you more about our business model. So we created online shop where we sell these balance boards, and they can be used in families, but also we train specialists how to work with these balance boards. In Latvia now we have 120 specialists. Also we have specialists in UK, in Lithuania, and in Italy. 3 years ago we created kindergarten, and now we have 85 children, and they are observing, they are learning how to analyze, how to feel, how to be happy, how to be friendly, and also they learn how to learn by self-direct, how to learn on our balance boards. This is house where is our kindergarten, we call it Learn to Learn, but there is also development center, and all families or children in Latvia can have specialist consultations. And also they learn how to swim and how to make a gym in water, because we believe that movement is really, really necessary for children development. And this is our business model in total. So balance boards and service Learn to Learn. We live in municipality of Jelgava, and of course we have cooperation with this municipality. And municipality co-finance our preschool for parents because it's determined by Latvia legislation. And sometimes they buy our service for families because of European projects. But we have also cooperation with university. And why do we need cooperation with university? University of Liepāja. They help us to adapt our methodology, and they help us to do study of this methodology. Also, cooperation with Investment and Development Agency of Latvia. They co-finance balance board production, market activities, and they co-finance premises for learn-to-learn service. But we believe that we need cooperation with other institutions, not only in Latvia, but also abroad. And that's why we do Erasmus Plus projects. And now we have project for balance board. We have cooperation in Italy and Lithuania with organizations. And also our 28 employers in Learn to Learn can have mobilities. In this year, they can have mobilities in Greece, Lithuania, and Italy. Because we know that friendship, cooperation, and contacts help to sell. That's why I am member of Business Network International. What is this? This is network where are entrepreneurs who are selling their products, and we are helping each other. We have really good, warm contacts, and we believe that givers gain. So if I help another member of this club, I know that this member will help me. Why should I create cooperation with seller who sells, I don't know, cleaning materials? Or why should I make cooperation with builder? Because I'm an educational institution, but I need this cooperation because I know this builder or entrepreneur who sells cleaning material maybe knows many school directors, or maybe he knows many school directors, and he will say, hey, there is Barboleta, and this is really good method, and it works. We feel it in our life. We have trained 120 Barboleta specialists, and we are creating community for them. They are our clients, but we see that they are our cooperation partners. They help us to create new methods, new tasks. They create master classes, and also they help us to make video lessons, and we are going to sell them in our online market. So this is good for us, and also this is good for our specialists because it's extra money for them. Our clients are our cooperation partners, but mostly they are parents from kindergarten. This is mother, and she help us to sell method of balance board in Latvia. Also, we have fathers who created digital information system for our organization for free, and they help us to make new innovations and new products. For example, these boxes for garden, it's really good for children to have their own garden. This is gift, but this is our new product, and this is piano, and this piano child will play this piano by legs using motor coordination and movements, and let's see a little bit how it works. Children will do it by legs, and this is idea of our parent, and he made it. Okay, thank you for video, and let's go forward. We are buying products or something from our clients and parents. This mother are horse trainer, and we buy lessons for our children, how to feed, how to take care of horse, how to ride a horse. And now today we will have end of our learning season, and we will have a party. But we are not going to buy cake in big or known bakery. We bought these cakes from our mother whose child comes to in our kindergarten, because we believe that we have to give, not only to take. Givers gain. It's our belief. And I am asking you, let's learn in motion. It's more better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. By the way, when you were mentioning balance boards, I suddenly came alive. Why? Because motorcyclists really need these. All through the winter, they need these balance boards to learn to balance on the motorcycle. Have you a special motorcycle balance boards, please?
Actually, I didn't get questions, sorry.
Okay, I understand. There are balance boards motorcyclists use because they have to train their balance to be better on the motorcycle, and that's what they do during the winter time. I wonder if you have a special motorcyclist balance boards.
We have balance boards linked together with learning, so motorcyclists will use it, but it will be boring for them after 1 month, because there are only one pass.
All right, yeah, okay. Anyway, but thank you. And I wanted to ask another question. Why did you choose social entrepreneurship? Because it's a great business project. Just go on with it, business as usual.
Because I am a social entrepreneur in my heart, and when we started to work without entrepreneur, I just work as a psychologist with children, and I found that we are taking quite big money from families, and it's quite hard in Latvia to pay for our service. Our service is really good, but it's quite expensive, and I were looking for possibilities how to reduce their costs, and I found social entrepreneurship. So if specialists buy from us this method or balance board, that means in our development center, children will have lower cost for their consultation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Regita.
Baiba, thanks a lot. Yes, and I think that's a very great business model where you have a product, you have a service, and you find a way how to really like tangle it together and how to use both, sell both, and basically like it works together. That if you cannot maybe sell that much balance board, then you have a children kindergarten. So very interesting business model. How did you come up with that?
I don't know. I just live and I saw it's really good to do so. It's like, I don't know. It just came.
How about the social impact? Like, how do you know that you create the change? Maybe you can tell, how do you measure your social impact in your daily life?
We are interviewing specialists. We know what they say. We made study. We know how this balance board, what impact balance board make for children and for learning process. And we are calculating how many children for how many children we help it, how many children we give help. And now we know it's more than 2,000.
Wow.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Baiba. Now we will have a Chief Executive of Now Group from UK, Maeve Monaghan. Maeve, you're on.
Hi, everybody, and you did really well with the pronunciation of my name, so
yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Translated from Irish, it means "she who makes men drunk," which I think is a great name. So I'm really pleased to be here today, and I had to have a special mention because when I was speaking to the team yesterday about coming on to this presentation, one of our best staff in Now Group is from Estonia, so she was particularly excited that we were going to be speaking about Now Group to yourselves today. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll just share my screen now. And just let me know when you can see it. Oh. That's okay now, yes?
It's okay now group.
Yeah, okay, yes. So Now Group is a charity and a social enterprise, and we support people with learning difficulties and autism into jobs with future. So I was particularly interested in hearing from some of the previous speakers today. And if you look at the line that's in blue, it gives you an explanation of the social enterprises that we have, because as the organisation has grown over 20 years, we've developed a range of enterprises and businesses that generate income. So we have Now Group, which is the parent organisation. We also have a catering business, and it was great to hear some of the other speakers talking about catering, because although it is a particularly popular area for social enterprise, it is definitely not one of the easiest areas to make money, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We have a pottery business, and we have our jam card social enterprise, which is growing significantly. It's a little card, jam, that stands for just a minute, and it's a card that can be used with people with communication disabilities to get just a minute of patience in shops, on public transport, and that has been designed by our participants and grown significantly over the last number of years, with over 80,000 jam card users across the UK and Ireland now. And then finally, we have a community interest company called Gauge, and it helps organisations understand, measure and communicate their social impact. So you can imagine, when I was hearing a lot of the speakers on earlier and the interest in social impact, it is one of the areas that we're particularly keen on. So here's a picture of some of our participants and some of the people that we support. This is pre-COVID days, obviously, when everybody could sit in on a sofa together, but they're in our head office in Belfast. And we support over 1,000 people with learning difficulties and autism. And in a year, we would be moving and supporting at least 100 of them into paid jobs. We have a range of accredited qualifications and training to help people be successful in their jobs. And that, one of the best success factors is, or one of the areas of biggest impact, is that after 6 months, 93% of those participants are still in that job and thriving. So we have been on a social impact journey, and I'll apologise now if this is quite small. I can send the slides afterwards. We have been measuring our social impact for over 10 years now. And as I say, we have a social enterprise that does that for ourselves and others. But what we can say in the last year, that every £1 invested in Now Group, we're returning about £20 in social value. So that's part of that exercise that we do to test, continually test how we're doing, what difference we're making, and ask that important question: so what? If we're delivering these services, is it actually making a difference? And we're very delighted to say that it is. And here's an example of one of the impact stories with one of our participants in her paid job in a bar, which are just reopening again in Northern Ireland, in Belfast, in a full-time job. She has autism. She loves this bar. They're a particular supporter of Now Group. They're a jam card friendly business as well, so they actively encourage people with communication difficulties to feel welcome in their bar, and they employ a number of our participants. And I think that's one of the examples of really, really good partnership. When it works well, it really does make a difference to individuals' lives. What I wanted to really talk about today, when I was asked to talk about cooperation and collaboration, I thought I would use the example of our catering business, which is Loaf Catering. It has grown significantly over the last number of years. It turns over, pre-COVID, about £1 million a year, when we've great plans to increase that to £2 million in the next 3 years. We have 6 cafes. The yellow one you see in the top right hand corner is owned by us. We bought the building. It was a burnt out bar in West Belfast. We have bought that and regenerated that into the beautiful building you see now. And one of the biggest areas, I suppose, when we talk about scaling, it's been important for us because catering, as I say, is not one of the easiest areas to make money. So we have a very clear business model for making that work. And we also have collaborated with local government We have competed against the private sector and won a tender. We're the catering providers for Belfast City Hall in the local council municipality. And we also have the catering contract with the National Museums for Northern Ireland. That's a significant, sizable contract that has been won in competition with private sector businesses. And we operate 3 cafes in the museums in Northern Ireland. And I suppose that collaboration works right across business as well, because along with the cafes, we also have a food delivery business to businesses. And about 60% of our income in the Belfast area is food delivered to businesses, and we are their caterer of choice, and we are in their supply chain. So some of the other previous speakers spoke about that. We don't ask for fundraising donations. We ask for businesses to put us in their supply chain. And by doing that, they get a really good quality product. They get a social return themselves, and we get the income so that we can deliver the social value, and it works very well. I think one of the areas of opportunity that we see in Northern Ireland now as we start to scale our business, that we are calling for other social enterprises to come into our supply chain as we grow and deliver more business and more food. We need suppliers to supply us, so we have a call out to social enterprises to do that with us, and I think that's a real opportunity for growth. I encourage organizations not to try to set up loads of social enterprise cafes, because they are difficult to sustain, but the opportunity is more for us to work in a supply chain collaboration, so all of us can make money and deliver social impact. So just to try and summarize some of my points, that piece around looking at local supply chain collaborations is one of the most exciting areas, I think, of development for us. You know, we have cafes in signature buildings in Northern Ireland with lots of tourists and lots of footfall. So the more product that social enterprises can make and sell to us that we can sell on, it's just good for business all around. We also collaborate with business and academy partnerships. So for instance, in our catering academy, we work with 6 organizations. We deliver accredited training programs, and then they would recruit at least five of our participants at a time. So we are actually moving significant numbers of people into paid jobs. And I think that's the focus for us, the progression from people away from our business into important jobs, valued jobs in local businesses that are sustained jobs, and it makes, I suppose, it helps businesses look at inclusion and diversity within their own organisation, but it means that they're also reflective of the communities in which they're working. And businesses tell us that it is good for business to employ our participants. We have lots of, I suppose, lots of opportunity coming down the line to contract more with local government, to look at contracts that are sustainable. We don't tend to tender for contracts where we don't think we'll be able to make money. We will want, you know, it's not a charity offer to business. We don't want to operate cafes that nobody else wants. We want to tender with the private sector and win significant contracts. And I suppose at the end of all of that, all of this business is to help drive our mission and to deliver inclusion. And for us, it is just so important that we make people feel really, really important and feel that their work is appreciated and has value. That's really the summary of my presentation. You can check out our other social enterprises on our website, and I'm more than happy to take some questions later on. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Maeve, thank you. Thank you very much. I've one question straight away. Buying that bar you mentioned, you rebuilt, that was just a convenient deal, or was a kind of idea or message behind it?
Well, yes, very good question. It was a building, it's a really well located building right across from the main hospital in Belfast. So the footfall, there's 4,000 staff members with a little pedestrian crossing. So we have a customer base right across the road, but it's also in a very deprived area of Belfast that was really run down after the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and nobody thought it would work. So I love a challenge. So we bought the bar because the area needed something beautiful in it. It needed something, it needed renovated, it needed something beautiful, and it needed something that was going to create opportunities for local people. So that one is one we're particularly proud of.
A little more general question, because I'm following also the Brexit issues, and also Ireland and North Ireland is mentioned there. Is there anything what is affecting you directly as a social entrepreneur?
Honestly, at the minute, no. I suppose it remains to be seen. We operate in Northern Ireland as part of the UK, but have registered in the south, in the Republic of Ireland now, and will work across both jurisdictions. So I think there's probably more opportunities in relation to it, but just as an individual citizen and as a mother, I think that the challenge for us is we still feel very European, and I'm personally distraught at Brexit happening. But I think in relation to the business side, not yet. Maybe a little bit around food, supply, but nothing that we can't sort out, thankfully.
Yes, Maeve, amazing. I think you have a great structure, great business model, like a lot going on. Like, how do you deal with all of that? And maybe you can elaborate more on your work with the target group. So what's the key to the excellence of working with the target group you're working with, and what are the biggest challenges there?
So I think in relation to working with the target group, it's about raising people's expectations. The challenge we find, because we're a social enterprise and because we work with people with disabilities, people don't expect enough of us. So we have been working really hard to deliver an excellent product, to have a beautiful design, to communicate really well our fantastic case studies, so that people understand that a social enterprise, it can be better than an ordinary business, and that people with disabilities are as good a staff member as anybody else, and that all businesses should be reflective of the communities in which you work. So, I think social entrepreneurs love a challenge, and our focus has been on being better than other businesses, being seen to be as a professional, and probably more professional than other businesses, and challenging expectations around being a social enterprise and the potential of people with disabilities. And they're big numbers. We're working with over 1,000 people. So that in itself, that ability to scale has been a challenge for us. It's easy to contain it in Belfast, but once you grow it outside there's a bigger challenge. But I think if you've got your quality framework right, if you're doing it for the right reasons, and if you keep an eye on your impact, it is definitely possible.
But do you feel like you have to push harder to get the same attention and then get the same exposure as other businesses just because you have this special status?
Not so much now. I think I have that feeling of you build it and they come. Instead of asking for permission, we've developed a really, really good product and put it out there in the mainstream. And once, there's quite a big movement at the minute, particularly on the back of COVID, where people want to know where their money goes and they want to buy social. So our product is priced, at a high level. We're competing with high-end business. Particularly, we have a pottery, and we're selling mugs across the world. Really, really good quality product. And I think as long as you're true to your mission and you have that eye on quality, people want to spend their money well. Part of the challenge for us is just making sure that we have the resource to invest in that brand design and that communication, and the confidence in ourselves that just because we're a social enterprise doesn't mean we aren't as good, if not better, than any other business.
Thank you, Maeve. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Maeve Monaghan. And now we have CEO of FRC group from UK. Please welcome Sean Doran. Sean.
Hi there. Good morning,
Hello.
everybody. Hi.
Nice to have you.
Yes, thanks for the invite. Do you want me to go straight into my presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so hopefully that's shared on screen. Yeah, can you see that? So, I'm Sean, I'm the Chief Exec of the FRC Group, and we're a group of social businesses with the mission to end furniture poverty. I'd just like to pay respect to the founders of FRC Group. So this is us in 1988, although it looks like the photograph could have been taken in 1888. And we are a very different business today than we were 33 years ago. And what we're about, I said earlier, our mission is to end furniture poverty. And we define furniture poverty as those people who don't have the money to buy the essential items of furniture that we believe we should all have in 2021. And our charity, our campaigning charity called End Furniture Poverty, spent a lot of time in researching the reality of people who don't have much money and the essential items of furniture they should have. And this is the list of items that we believe to be essential. I mentioned that we started 32 years ago, and we've grown considerably from that very small charity we were then. And our last published accounts for 2019-20 show these figures in terms of performance. And the bit I would just like to bring people's attention to for this presentation is the level of grant income that we have against our overall income. So we generated an income of about 13 million pounds, of which only 25,000 was grants, and that was a grant for a very specific purpose. So we've moved over our 33-year period from being very grant dependent in the early years, and most of those grants came directly from the EU. For many years, Liverpool, where we're based, was an Objective 1 area, and there was an awful lot of money coming into the area. And at that time, there were over 200 social enterprises in Liverpool alone who were all candidly being supported by European grants that were being propped up. And once those grants disappeared and were directed to other states within the European Union, that number of 200 plus social enterprises dropped to about 10. So there's a bit of a learning lesson for people there. Anybody who's in receipt of grants at the moment, you really do need to have a plan that moves away from that, and ideally towards earned income rather than any other form of income. So a bit of a snapshot of where we are at the moment. 2021 was an even better year for us, but as we all know, that was a very unusual year. So history will tell whether that shows a sustained improvement in our performance or whether it's a one-off due to COVID. We operate very much on a double bottom line basis. So every business we operate, every decision we make will take into account the commercial return that we will get, and also the social return, the social value that we will create. And we need to have a blend of both of those in each of our operations. And people sometimes say to me, often say to me, which is the most important? And in truth, neither is more important than the other. Both are essential for running a successful social business. And it's the blend, it's the management of that that is the important piece of it. I was asked today to talk particularly around partnerships, and in truth, our partnerships, our sort of language that we use around partnerships is more about customers. And what we've done over our history and continue to do is to find customers who are prepared, able, willing, and want to pay FRC Group for delivering a service, and that either fits directly with our mission to end furniture poverty, or it generates a revenue and income that allows us to then invest in other processes that end furniture poverty. And when we talk about customers, we in the main talk about corporate customers. So most of our customers are very large organizations. They will be councils, municipalities, they will be housing associations, they will be businesses. Most of our turnover, our revenue, comes through contracts with large organizations. We do have a very small retail revenue, but in truth, on the retail side, we give more away than we sell. So it will always be a very small element of what we're about. All of our contracts that we have been won against private sector competitors, and they are mainly, most of our customers have to go through an EU procurement process. And so we're effectively competing with private sector companies and maybe some of the social enterprises right across Europe. And we think that's good. It keeps us very, very much on our toes, we would say in England. It means that we have to provide a really good level of service, and we have to be an efficient business. The other bit I'd just like to point out is some of our growth in recent years has come through the acquisition of private sector companies. So we have one strand of our strategy is to buy our competitors. So if we have a particularly strong competitor that we are struggling to compete against and win contracts against, latterly our approach has been to negotiate with that competitor and see whether we can acquire them. And in recent years, we've acquired 3 private sector companies and then reversed them into our social enterprise structure. And we're currently negotiating with another one of our private sector competitors, which, if that happens, and there's no guarantee it will add an additional approximately £5 million to our turnover, bring more people into the business, and mean that the people who we're looking to help and the social value that we create will increase dramatically also. What I'd now like to do is to just show you a few examples of things that we do and how we've been able to find a way to find a commercial solution that allows us to do things that are very expensive to do and we wouldn't otherwise be able to do if we didn't have that revenue stream coming in from somewhere. So one of the ways in which we end furniture poverty is by giving away great quality unwanted furniture to people who don't have much money. And here in the UK, there's an awful lot of great quality furniture that people get rid of because they are moving house, they're moving into a smaller house, relatives may have died. People just feel they want a change of decoration and they want to get rid of good quality furniture that they currently have. And we want to be able to access that good quality furniture at scale and then give that away to people who don't have any money. And one of the ways that we do this, the way that we do this is by finding people who have a problem with a lot of furniture they want to get rid of and then charging them for the service of managing their problem that they have with furniture. And as an idea of scale, this business makes about 60,000 individual collections every year. And we collect about 300,000 items of furniture every year, many of which are in very good condition. And once we repair them, we're able to give them away to people free of charge. And we've done that by finding a customer, which is businesses, municipalities, who pay us to provide that service to them. Another example is unwanted mattresses. Within those 300,000 items we collect every year, we collect about 15,000 unwanted mattresses, of which about 6,000 are in good enough condition to be reused if there was a way to clean them, sanitize them, and fumigate them. So we've invented, which you can see there, the world's only mattress cleaning machine, which cost us about £130,000 to develop. And the way we cover the cost of this is by providing a service to hotels and student accommodation to take away their unwanted mattresses, or to bring them to our machine, clean them, and take them back to the hotel. And either way, we make a charge for that, which provides a revenue, which allows us to run the machine and the operation, and covers the cost of giving those mattresses away free of charge to people who don't have the money to buy a new mattress. Similar situation with our IT reuse business. We collect thousands of items of IT every year, and we data wipe them, reinstall Microsoft software, and then we give them away to people who don't have any money. And the way we're able to do that, and to be able to pay staff, have decent premises and equipment and vans, is we charge people who have a lot of computers to get rid of. We make a charge to them for managing that problem, taking their computers away and dealing with them. So we have large contracts with universities where we might collect 1,000 computers at a time, or large businesses like solicitors or call centers who have an awful lot of computers and need to replenish them, replace them periodically. So you'll see there that we operate a social business model. And I'd just like to point out, in summary, some of the challenges that that brings to a business and some of the benefits. The benefits are definitely of scale. You can grow to whatever size you want, dependent on the market that you are working in. You're in control of what you do. You can do what you want to do rather than what grant funders want you to do. And generally, markets, although they do have a lifetime, they last longer than grant funding is likely to last. So there's some great benefits of a social business model, but there are some real challenges. It is a challenge to win contracts, and it's a challenge to retain them. And you have to develop what we call a world-class service model in order to retain contracts. You need to keep a focus on the social change. There's so much happening when you win big commercial contracts that it would be easy to lose sight of the social mission. So you need to make sure you're on track with that and have very robust measures to be able to identify the social value that you create and maximize that. And at the heart, the biggest challenge I have is probably finding the right people to operate in what is not a straightforward business environment. And we find that people either absolutely thrive and are brilliant, or they fail very quickly. I can normally tell you within a month of recruiting someone whether they will be here for 20 years or whether they will be leaving very quickly. So there's some of the challenges. And top tips to anybody who's thinking of moving down this model would be to identify the change you want to see. In our case, it's ending furniture poverty. Identify how you can commercialize this, how you can develop a revenue stream that allows you to do that. And in that process, you need to identify customers, both markets and individual customers and opportunities. And one of the points Maeve made earlier, you need to be more professional, you need to be better than your private sector competitors on the baseline service. People are expecting you to be very well intentioned, but not very good at delivering the service. So you need to be even better than your competitors. And our approach is only once we've established our credentials as a great service provider, would we then bring in the added value that we can deliver around our social value mission. And I would always recommend you do it in that order. Get your commercial abilities established first, then move on to your point of difference and how you are better than your private sector competitors. And back to the previous slide, it's not good enough to tell people you are better. You've got to prove you are better and prove it over the life of a contract if you have any chance of re-winning that contract at the end after 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever. And finally, I'd just like to say good luck to anybody who's embarking on a social business mission. It isn't easy, but equally it's not the hardest thing in the world. And it is very, very rewarding for you and any of your team who are working with you. So that is the end of my presentation. I'm more than happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. We have one question. Do you think it is possible for social enterprises to go big and scale and replicate their business models, or they are bound to stay small? You mentioned big numbers, I must say. But could you, for example, go like worldwide and become a network, and you would have like two main, I would call them brands, like unwanted mattresses, pre-loved furniture. By the way, do you own the copyrights to them?
We do. We do.
You do?
Yeah. We trademark all of our brands, all of our operating brands, and we either patent or register the design rights on any processes that we develop, depending on what's applicable.
Have you already sold it like a franchise, for example, or as the patents for somebody else to be used?
No, for instance, so to answer your question, yes, I think social enterprises can reach scale, defined scale, certainly a lot bigger than any social enterprises that we've seen. And certainly from our point of view, our last 3 businesses that we've launched, we've hardwired scale into them from the outset. We have a number of businesses that we simply can't scale. They were established many years ago and they're very much of a certain place, a certain set of conditions. But now we know that furniture poverty is a national, global problem, and we want our solutions to be scalable. So the mattress machine that we just talked about there, we literally only launched this 2 months ago, but part of it, part of our rollout, is a license program for the mattress machine. And we're also currently developing a full-blown franchise program for it, because we know the scale of the problem is more than we can solve. So we see ourselves very much as sort of front runners. We will establish, take the risk and prove the solutions, and then look to roll that out so other social enterprises can buy licenses or franchises, or in some business models, it's on more of a sort of free source data. But we are very, very clear on the social enterprises, the type of social business we would work with. Social business, just because you're a social business, does not mean that you are any good at running a business. And I can name many, well, I won't name them, but there are many social businesses who I wouldn't trust to run a bath for me, let alone run a business. And they damage our sector, and we certainly wouldn't look to partner with those. We only want to partner with people who can actually deliver rather than just talk about delivering.
Amazing, Sean, amazing. I think you are really tackling a very important challenge, which is huge, and it's huge worldwide. And I think it's a lot about greens and sustainable things again, right? About the upcycling and about doing doing those things. But we had a question actually on our chat on how is impact measured for green tech and clean tech companies, and how do you think, when are they counted as social enterprises? And how do you think, like, are all of those green tech companies also social enterprises? What is your take on that?
Oh, you said you had a question. There were about 4 questions.
That's Regita.
I don't think all green tech companies are necessarily social enterprises or social businesses, and I don't think they have to be. But I think there is definitely a growth space for social businesses in the whole green tech sustainability agenda, and it's an area that we are certainly using to our advantage. What we find, and I mentioned earlier about establishing commercial credentials, then talk about added value, and for many of our customers, the fact that we operate in a certain way in a certain market and reduce both ours and their carbon footprint is getting some real traction and is separating us out from our private sector competitors. So, yeah, I think the future for many social enterprises does have a sustainability element to it. You don't have to be a social business to be operating in the green tech space. And the question about measuring social value, we've been measuring and publishing social value reports for 22 years, I think. And the nature of that changed over time. And we like to think we've now sort of moved out of the social value measurement arena and into the social value management arena. So now our conversations are very much around, if we make an investment into process A, how much social return is going to be created? And if the investment was into process B, what would the social return look like? And that management, not just reporting, not just measurement, allows us to make some relatively sophisticated investment decisions, taking into account both the commercial return that we need to see and the social value return that we want to see. And over the years, it's led to us deciding to stop doing some things that we previously did, because when properly measured and discussed, the social value isn't at an optimum level. But it's also helped us, because we do have finite resources, to identify the best investments, the best new businesses for us in the future that will give us that correct blend of a social value return and a financial return.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. That was Sean Dorn, CEO of FRC Group UK in social entrepreneurship since 18th century, obviously. Thank you. Well, pre-loved furniture and unwanted mattresses. Now, let's see the graphic recording of impact stories. Wow! That's something. That's what an impact is that. That's it. Thank you very much. Well, you can see now, and you will have also an opportunity to study this after we will finish our discussion panel, which are just about, people are ready to take part. We'll have 3 discussion panelists, and they are Regita, Director of Social Entrepreneurship Association of Latvia. Then new amongst the speakers, Erki Kuber, board member of Estonian Social Enterprise Network, and Victoria Brazionaite, head of Lithuanian Social Business Association. And we have a lot of questions which are not yet answered, and some 15 minutes, I reckon. Well, do you hear us? Please wave if you can hear me, and ready? Great. Good. Let's go. I have a big list of questions, but I think once again the presentations will be available, so you will have an opportunity to go them through and see in detail. And then, if any other questions won't be answered yet, I guess you can also, Regita, with your colleagues, revisit them and send answers in the chat later or in the email. Question is to all speakers, how's young people positioned to interest on social entrepreneurship? In Turkey, it's quite new and trend topic. So I guess it means how to get young people in there. Any legal framework questions, or maybe it's activities or information, because there is another thing next to it. What is the best tools for NGOs to raise interest of social entrepreneurship in decision makers, and especially the ones from government and in public eye too? Because we're doing great things. Question is, why so few people know about them and understand what social entrepreneurship really is and are ready to be involved in it? So a lot of questions, but actually it's one big thing: how to get bigger exposure, how to get young people in, how to make governments understand it. Any ideas or plans? Maybe one by one. Regita.
Yes, I would tell that the youth is the future, and actually the youth is very social impact driven. And as we heard, all of the customers are already expecting to do the social impact, and we see that social entrepreneurship ecosystem here are really like driven by many newcomers and like new youth that are interested in social entrepreneurship. And actually there are many possibilities as well. Like for example, for Erasmus Plus projects, we've heard a lot about them today, but it's one of the priorities of the Erasmus projects as well, the social entrepreneurship development. So we see many action here around it, and I think that's one of the tools that could be implemented as well. More projects on social entrepreneurship to really raise awareness, and then to really like see and communicate the value. As for the recognition, I think it's getting better. I think we are on a stage where more and more community members are understanding what social entrepreneurship means, what it is about, and about it's all about the social impact communication. If we can communicate the social impact created, then more and more stakeholders are getting involved, are getting interested, and I think it's a sustainable model for the future.
Thank you. Erki.
Maybe I will tackle on a little bit from what Gita was saying, but just from a different angle, because like Estonia is very great on the startup sector side, and we see how startup sector has been growing in like couple of years, like very fast, and we have like the most unicorns per capita. So in some ways, I would little bit replicate the same model that they have been doing as well, because like the awareness work has been very big. They have done this kind of white paper or like overall picture how the sector is going. If we take Estonian situation, it's quite fun because like Minna showed the graphic there that in Estonia there's 126 social enterprises. Then there are, for example, some research that are older that the statistics institution made as well that says that there are around 1,000. So in Estonian situation, it's actually fun that even the statistics and researchers they say different things. So in some ways, it's just how to get the picture so much bigger that everybody would understand what it is, that there would be like easy answer probably for the question would be just do everything better. And then, well, I would say that the bigger question is that what's the most impactful at the beginning, and that this, like to come to that, then like actually just listening how others are already doing it, or like just starting, like Lauri was saying as well in his presentation, is well, like all of them are like great answers.
I wonder if have you turned a normal, average business into social business? So you can find a very successful business already, and then say, let's do it in a social entrepreneurship way. Do you have like big examples of that?
We have here in Latvia. Yes, Erki.
Yes.
Yeah. Good question. Like I don't even know it that like exactly, because in Estonia there's like CSR movement is big as well that helps the bigger enterprises little bit move to that direction as well. So this is like this kind of small between step before maybe this.
All right. Regit.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that there are cases here in Latvia where people are doing a great business, but then finding this social impact angle and defining their social goal and social mission and turning to social entrepreneurship. So that's a great way, yes, to come from the business and to become a social entrepreneur at its heart.
It's like taking over a successful business and turning it into social enterprise. Victoria, anything on from Lithuania we could also borrow and use on this field?
Yes, one little remark that younger generation is naturally more driven, choosing career in purpose-driven jobs. So this is fact. So it means that naturally they are tend to go into activities which are meaningful, not just for salary. Before joining this Lithuanian Social Business Association, I was actively involved with startups community, and we did one research about young people, and this was really interesting finding. What concerns situation in Lithuania about young people and entrepreneurship and the engagement into social business? One of our members, Lithuanian Junior Achievement, they have a very strong program for social entrepreneurship and actively educating, building capacities of entrepreneurship among school children. So when we say that we need more young people, it cannot happen at one night. It means we need a more structural approach. We need to start programs in school. So what our members are doing, continue in universities, different incubators, sandboxes, accelerators for people to encourage them. If they have idea, they have to have opportunities to go test and play and experiment the ideas. So we are as well as in startup ecosystem is thriving in Lithuania and quite favorable. So it's I really hope it will become more and more like this for social entrepreneurship. But we have strong program, yeah, for that.
You've been listening each other, and some playground setup specialists from the government. What you have learned, because we are putting together learnings of the day, what would be your learning from each other and listening other people and great examples? One thing you said, yes, that's a great thing, let's do it in our country, in our association.
I might start then.
Yes.
Seems. I would say that UK is awesome. And it's fun to see that how Baltics all together, they're very like in the beginning, and we see such a big mindset difference compared with UK entrepreneurs, how like Sean or me were talking before, and it's just awesome to hear like how it's just normal. You don't think about like social enterprise being something different, but it's an enterprise like as any other. You're just solving some kind of wicked or complicated problem. So the key learning is that like before, if you want to have very big and successful enterprises, you have to have many of them. And like in Estonian context, there aren't many of them, so it's hard to expect that there would be very big kind of unicorn size social enterprises who are changing very on a big scale, some kind of very big problem.
No, thank you. Regita.
Yes, I love the idea that in Lithuania you're working with 3 different ministries in which you are seeing the added value, and I think it's good that there are both like Ministry of Economy involved, Ministry of Agriculture involved, that there is like Ministry of Welfare, because I really find that social entrepreneurship is very horizontal. It can create a value for everybody, and actually it should be in the agenda of every ministry, and I think that was very important for me. But also the great stories really inspired me. I feel very inspired, and I think that yes, we should act more. We should bring together the ecosystem, and yeah, because in Latvia there are still like many NGOs working as a social enterprises, and it's totally okay. And I think we should create ways on how to push the ecosystem to be even better and just to work together. And I think there's a lot to learn more from Lithuania and Estonia, and of course UK, which is the front runner, and that's why I'm really glad that British Council is here and helping us to really bring the ecosystem to this next level, and actually do many actions that we maybe wouldn't be able to do so.
So if there's more ministries involved, you can play them against each other, saying, you know what, but this ministry already did that, and what about you? And
Exactly. And the other thing is that I love that in Estonia, the ministry said that they have this grant for ecosystem building, and I think that's just an amazing idea, which is put forward in Estonia, and of course we would love something like that here in Latvia as well.
when we will be back together, all together in one place. Well, Victoria, anything from you to add on this?
Yes, so I think really a lot of things to learn, and from Latvia and from Estonia. Unfortunately, we could not hear anyone from the UK, from governmental sector. I would imagine it would be really interesting to learn their way to current situation of thriving ecosystem. But I would like to mention that I really looked into what Regita presented, that their way to the regulation was to establish a parliamentary group which worked on this law for social business development. So I would think it's good idea to implement it in Lithuania, because we still don't have official legal definition, so this could work well here.
Thank you. Then 2 more questions to go. I'm curious to know from people here, what institutions or initiatives help people abroad make their ideas come alive and business grow? Without guided knowledge sharing, it's hard to have an impact. So the idea is that there's a lot of people who have ideas. So where they go, how they start it, where they find the way, first steps. Any suggestions?
Maybe I will start.
Thank you, Erkki. You're saving me all the time. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I know what it is to be you, so it's easy to know what to do.
Thanks a lot.
Maybe the first suggestion, and it's even, how to say, hard to give that kind of simple thing, but if you have an idea, Google. You can Google where there are incubators, you can Google where there are accelerators, you can Google where there are like competitions where you can pitch. And the first thing, or like the easiest thing, is just to go and say what you're thinking, what do you want to do. You will get feedback, you understand, are you going to the right direction or not? And well, there's just so much opportunities around us. You have to act on it, not think on it.
Yes, I totally agree to Erkki, because here in Latvia, I think there are a lot of going on with in the regions of business incubators. So that's a really good place to come to. And of course, the New Door Accelerator and Reach for Change Incubator will be the right places to develop your social entrepreneurship idea, or just write us an email, come to the consultation, and we will help you and guide you through this through this maybe legal processes, but I also loved how Estonian ministry said that let's not get stuck in the legal definitions or legal regulations, but it's really important just to act on the idea that you have the social goal and you are implementing it in a business way.
So don't ask for permission, just do it and then ask for forgiveness. Great approach. Victoria, anything to add?
Yes, I will be humble, and I would say that first place definitely you social entrepreneurs and those who wish to establish such a business could turn to our association, and we definitely direct them to the right program or accelerator or incubator. And also we have governmental agency and Enterprise Lithuania. They are under the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, so they are responsible for developing social entrepreneurship in Lithuania. So they have this platform for social businesses to register, some mentors network, and at the moment there is a program if you wish to start social startup. So yeah, and so those two channels I would suggest.
So moment of truth for all of you three, Regita, Erkki, Victoria. We've been talking today. What I need from you, some kind of memorandum. So that would be the answer to the question, next step, at least one, to strengthen partnerships of Baltic social enterprises. How you are going to do it, what's the next step from your side? An email, a call, a project, what? Let us start with Victoria this time.
Actually, I've been thinking already in advance about that, and we have in mind, not in mind, already prepared some international projects, and it's also about cooperation between us plus Nordic country. So we are going to meet. So I will get in contact with Marge from Estonia and from Regita about more details. That to put in action what we are talking today and discuss more concrete steps, how in what areas we could support and cooperate and yeah, to build partnerships among each other.
So you're just waiting this event to be finished and then you're on. All right.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, I think this is the really good first step, and I think we really should make it a tradition and each year to meet in this Baltic context, because I think it's really very important to get there and talk from the Baltics, because we are better united, and I think it's the best first step that we're having now to really work together. And of course, next there are so many cooperation options and so many learnings, and of course we will be in active communication with our Baltic colleagues, and from our side we can promise that there's more to come. And I really hope that this event also had an impact on our members, on social entrepreneurs, maybe finding new partnerships and maybe new collaborations and seeing the future together.
Erkki, are you in?
Seems so. So +1 from my side.
And round of applause from me.
Amazing.
Yeah, because it's quite nice just to, moderate, do the moderation for some chats and panel discussions and so on. And then you come with a question, all right, now what? Well, yeah, so I'm very happy to hear from you this. Thank you once again for taking part. All the action and fun will follow because there will be workshops. The workshops will start at 2 o'clock Eastern European Summer Time. Then there will be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern European Summer Time. Everyone is invited to join the forum's informal house parties, which will also take place on Zoom platform. That will be kind of opportunity to do whatever you want to do together, and there will be different interesting social entrepreneurs, I hope, and at the same time you can make new business contacts and get into the details how to do things together. The recording of the forum will be available also, and the graphic we just created, and Dace is the author, and we are ready to see how this all looks together.
Wow.
What an amazing event we have had today, I must say. Looking at this.
Competition, impact stories. There has been a lot about ecosystem, about social impact and legal framework, and about the main learnings that we've had. And yes, I really loved the idea of co-petition as well. Great. Yes, local community and making impact. I think that's the base.
So this will also be available for you to study in deep. And thank you to Dace for great work. It looks perfect. Thank you very much. And Regit, thank you for being a great host to me and covering in case I need anything from you.
Amazing, amazing, yeah. Valdis. And Valdis, thank you for this hosting, because I think you've been amazing host to this event, and I really hope that there will be more events to come. And yes, thank you so much. And all of the participants, thank you for being together with us. Thank you for listening in, for amazing questions, for great talk. And I really hope that there will be more and more cooperation, more partnerships built. Please make some fun in the events to come. And my biggest thank you goes to the British Council Latvia for being the valued partners for at least the last 4 years. And I'm really thankful for the impact created together, because without you, there wouldn't be such a vibrant ecosystem of social entrepreneurship. But as for our partners, for Lithuania and Estonia, let's work together, let's create change, and let's act. Let's act, and together we can do even more. Let's partner up, and let's see where this social entrepreneurship ecosystem brings us. Thank you.
Regit Zelia.